This fucking thing. Okay, there we go. Lefty audio, as per usual, we always have to double check. Hi. How are we today? It is Tuesday, innit? I feel like I'm kind of tired and stuff. I mean, that's pretty usual, though. That's pretty normal right now, is being tired. So maybe there's just not very much out of the ordinary with that in that regard. Anyway, people were here early today. Y'all were here really early. We had a couple people in the YouTube chat here super early. Finn was talking about having their job schedule changed on them at the last minute, so they are spending some time on their art. That's fucking cool. We have Nikki and Paul. I'm sorry to hear about your dad, Paul. That really sucks. Or congratulations. I don't know. It depends. Everybody has different relationships with their parents. Anyway, I saw before stream started that Decoy Duck gifted Mersh a tier 1 sub. Thank you very much, Decoy Duck. I much appreciate. I ain't reading. Yeah, exactly. Gayfesh. Yeah. What's up? So yeah, hi Gayfesh. Hey Spider. What's up, Mersh? I got the mushroom thing today, Mersh. That finally happened, so that's cool. Hello, Hollow. Tanza, hello. Baphomet, who I probably already said hi to, or maybe I didn't because I can't fucking read today. Yeah, Raccoon Pope. I saw Raccoon Pope, you shared some personal news in the Discord. That was super cool. Good to hear that things went well with your parents, or at least one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. How are you all? How are you all? Hi, how are you? Gosh. You know what? My ADHD is becoming much easier to deal with now that I'm on Ritalin. Crazy how that works when you're on the medicines. Also, hey, Nuvenol. Yeah, so I've managed to compile, like, some lists of things that I actually want to do. The audio's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate, really? Oh, gosh. The stream recommendations is a thing that I didn't know about through the YouTube backend. Anyway, thanks YouTube backend for trying to help me optimize my stream output. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about though. Oh gosh. Yeah, so I ran some errands today. I did some exercise today. Exercise. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be so fucking yoked in like 6 months or something. Hello, Sisukara. Welcome in. I hope that you all have a drink with you tonight. Hail Hydrate, as per usual. Zanzost, welcome in. Yes, Mersh, I did. I hung up the gymnastics rings today, actually. Yeah, Mama Mephistopheles, yo, exercise gang, rise up. I'm doing some very gentle body weight exercises. So the purpose of the gymnastic rings, like the reason why I had them on the wish list, thank you, by the way, for getting those for me, is because I'm doing I'm gradually working my way up to doing regular pull-ups. So I started doing wall pull-ups, which are just you're standing like this and you hold the door frame or whatever, and you pull yourself back and forth. And so now it's the exercise rings, and I have them they're about here while I'm standing next to them, but then you lean back and go at a reclined angle. So that's cool. That's what I'm doing. That's exercise for you. ADHD meds were a godsend for me, although be careful with your tolerance. Take a week off every so often. Yeah, I don't actually like taking them very much. I will end up losing touch with my doctor over a period of time because I just stop taking. Previously it was Adderall. I would just be taking it for a while and then stop suddenly for no specific reason. Demon Mama only takes them on stream days. Yeah, it's worn off a bit now because I took one way earlier in the day, and now it's 6 p.m. and I don't know if I want to take a Ritalin that late in the day. It's not so much for stream time for me. It's all of the other shit that I need to do in my day. You know, I want to exercise. I want to stay on top of chores and house maintenance and stuff like that, you know. Hey, Titanium Rat, welcome to the website. How's it going today? And Winter Nightmare, hello. I did that a few years ago. My upper body strength is a disaster. Yeah. IDK, if my Adderall is working, it mostly just destroys my appetite, so I need to force feed myself. You might need a lower dose or to try something else. It's I feel the right stimulant is one that it might suppress your appetite somewhat, but more than it suppresses your appetite, it you have the presence of mind that you need to eat, and you can just do it. That's the perfect med, and I think Ritalin is kind of hitting that spot for me right now. Finn in the YouTube chat asks, have you ever looked into different super niche exercise channels? There's one lady on here that works exclusively with hula hoops. No, I have never I've never done that, and I don't really see myself doing that. I'm so picky with what I watch on YouTube. Having a break from game development. Nice. It sounds fun, but could perhaps be tedious, game development. There's so many different aspects of it, too. It's one of those things that I could see myself, if I had money to go to college, being maybe I want to learn something about, sound design in an official capacity and then work on video game music. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Now that I've said it. Oh, no. Zanzost says, I'm taking some sociology classes this semester at uni, and there's so many queer people and leftists in them. I love it. Oh, that sounds amazing. You gotta catch that niche workout wave. Oof. Oh, gosh. Phoebe says, yeah, I made a tiny game with Game Maker, and it's a lot of work. It sure does. I've been on a kick listening to Lena Rain. I love video game music. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Gayfesh. I have started learning actual music theory. I now understand, what major and minor keys are, actually. How many half steps between the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah. And since you can just do it in the C chord, you can just do it in the key of C, then you have a frame of reference for okay, if I know this is this is in the key of E. I don't know. You can just you start with okay, well, I know that this is E major, and then you can kind of figure it out from there. So that's fun. That's one of those things that I'm doing a good job, I think a balanced job of delving a little bit into it, practicing a little bit what I know for a few days, and then letting myself ruminate on it, and not having that be the thing that I overwhelmingly am doing with my time. Wait till you get to modes. Oh, that's exciting. I don't know what to learn next. So, I don't know. I might have gotten the order wrong for minor keys. You just take the 6 and the 7 and like take them off of the end and put them at the beginning, which is why you use all the same keys to play C major as you do A minor. You just start your key with A minor instead of starting with C as your root. Does that make sense? So it's just the 6 and the 7, and you take them off and put them at the beginning. Yay, music. Vyvanse gang. I was on Vyvanse at one point. Yeah. Yummy. So yeah, I have spent a little bit of time kind of cooling down and thinking about the debate that we had. I was determined to get that out as a video. Like, I didn't watch through the whole thing until I had already uploaded it publicly to the channel yesterday. That was my goal. You did amazing. Thank you, Decoy Duck. That's like the only reason that I'm not mad. And to be clear, like, I did already message Will. And like, so if I talk a little bit of shit right here, like, I already talked to Will directly. I was like, I think that this was bullshit a little bit. Like, I'm not mad. Like, I told him I'm not mad. It's just not, like, it wasn't fun. Right? I watched 3 minutes and tapped out. I don't blame you. Like, I was listening to it while I was like doing chores around the house, and I ended up pacing a bunch and getting all like worked up by it because it was fucking irritating. But I did a phenomenal job, which is why I'm not mad. And I've identified like a couple of ways in which I could have argued better. And also, I understand what the problem was of, like, why the debate was so frustrating now. So I have a lot of, like, I feel like I learned a streamer's lesson a little bit about how to prep for a debate like that, including getting an idea of who on the panel has which opinions before we go into it. And also, like, maybe next time having the skills to recognize when the conversation is not ultimately even about what the premise of the conversation is supposed to be. Like, that was the thing that was most frustrating in retrospect, watching it over again, was that I repeatedly tried to draw back to the issue, which, like, the question of the debate was, is there a trans genocide happening? And not, is it bad optics to call it a genocide, which is the only thing that anyone would talk about. It was the only thing that they would talk about. They refused to engage me on the actual fucking question, and it could have done with way better moderation. Well, yes, there is a genocide, but let's not call it that. I mean, if they had even said, well, yes, there is a genocide, then I would have been like, okay, then this is a totally different conversation that we're having. But they actually denied fundamentally my premise, I think, and they just refused to engage with it because they didn't have any actual arguments against it. Will had been told by basically everyone that he was ill-equipped to run this debate, and he refused to listen and then made a 1v5 panel in his hubris. Yeah, he kept saying, like, I thought that there was someone... He kept saying, like, I thought that there was at least one other person on the panel who agreed with you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Baphomet, I really should have made the joke about how they skipped straight to step 10. I don't have a lot of faith in Will being good faith given some of the other convos, and having a historian as a, quote, co-host who took part was a bit not great. Yeah, I also called him out for that. I was like, it was not okay for you to have on, like, someone who is seen as an authority on the subject who also disagreed. But, like, I think I put it more to, like, inexperience and incompetence than to malice, because because Will agrees with my position. Like, I don't think he actually intended for it to be a setup. But once he realized what was going on, like, it did end up being a dog pile. Any of you who were there or who watched the debate, do you remember when Power Bottom Politics, who was the person in the top right, sorry, I'm gesturing opposite for you. The person in the top right, like they said toward the beginning of the conversation, like, don't worry, Lux, if everybody starts dogpiling you, then I'll defend your position. But then PB was like the most aggressive toward me. Zonia was just the most passive aggressive toward me. But whatever. What's up, Raven? Yeah, most recently, Oklahoma has a bill preventing anyone under 26 getting HRT. Yeah, we talked about that on stream last week, and actually, there have been more bills introduced, and we will talk about at least one of those tonight, because one of them was in my state of Kansas, and I'm fucking angry about it. And not only are we going to talk about the bill and everything, but I think I'm going to read to you the letter that I sent to my senator. Like, I spent like over an hour on Friday afternoon when I, like, pretty much as soon as I found out about the bill, I was like, I need to get in touch with my state, like my state senator, like the senator who goes to the state senate from my local area, you know? So boy, howdy. I was very annoyed though. I was honestly shocked at how relatively cordial Rose Mallet was compared to everyone else there. I think that she was bored because she wasn't getting called on very much. Like, I kind of expected with Rose Mallet being there that she would, I kind of expected her to try to derail the conversation. Like, I kind of expected her to derail onto like xenogenders or something. But like, it's weird to me that she kept saying like, why are you calling this a genocide? There are way other more serious things happening. And I want to be like, baby, honey, sweetheart, darling, oh honey, like those things are all components of le genocide. She is not a hostile debater. She just has the worst takes imaginable to get attention. When she's on the panel, she's got the attention. Yeah, that's ultimately what she wants. She just wants to stir up shit. Like, yeah, I wasn't in Will's chat. I did not see any conversation going on in anybody else's chat. It was already a lot of my attention to be... I was paying a lot of attention to you guys through that debate, actually. I don't normally do that as much during conversations, but it worked this time, I think. I feel like we had a pretty strong level of engagement with chat that is probably preferable to me to have, as opposed to other conversations where I end up not listening to you at all. What's up, Luxander is not a movie. Welcome in. I got pretty heated myself. Caps lock went on. I know. We were malding over here together. We were malding. Hello, Elcowl, Wave, and Dark Canuck. Welcome in. I feel bad for people living in Republican-run states. It's very worrying. I mean, like, it's not even just Republican-run states. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Oregon pretty consistently a blue state? Or is that only Washington? Like, I kind of got the impression that it was like Washington, Oregon, and California were all pretty consistently blue. But there's been a fucking another one of these bills introduced in Oregon, right? Yeah, I remember that Gayfesh. Once Rose Mallet says that she like deliberately like falls asleep in compromising positions in group situations so that she might get like sexed while she's pretending to be asleep. What a weirdo. Hey, Live Oak, also a bill in Virginia. Yeah, it's everywhere. So yeah, we will talk about that today. We will get into a little bit more of the specifics on it. Even in blue states, the loudest voices are Republicans, right? M says, I watched the debate last night and also found it super frustrating how they kept going off topic. It's bad optics isn't an argument against whether it's happening. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I did message Will about that. Just like, I was like, this was kind of bullshit in a couple of different ways. Like, I was just straight up with him. And he was like, yeah, I recognize that I've fucked up in a couple of ways. I just got done editing it, and he was like, he said that he recorded him talking about it in the aftermath, and like, you know, editing will put that in at the end of the debate. So I will, you know, check that out, and like, I would need to reread his message because I can't remember specifically whether he apologized or not, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not like personally mad at him. I don't think that he did it maliciously. And ultimately I had like an okay time, at least for the first hour. I think the first hour was really fun. Honestly, I mean, to be fair though, like as frustrating as it was, it is also kind of fun to be like mean to people sometimes. And I just wish that I had familiarized myself with the lore of like who some of these people are. Like, yeah, like Afesh, we were talking about Zonia before, and like I knew that someone had written some fucking just insane fan fiction about you, but I didn't know who it was. Like, I didn't know that it was Zonia. And if I had known that, I probably would have been a little bit less nice in the debate. Yeah. Imagine tone policing people for the language used to describe their plights. Yeah, but if we use accurate, correct language, then people aren't going to listen. Yeah, that was, yeah, no one really engaged me on the what, like, is a genocide actually occurring? I tried to ask the panel, for example, I was like, hey, if you guys keep getting hung up on needing to demonstrate intent, then explain to me how we demonstrate intent. Like, do you require someone to get caught on a hot microphone? Like, is that the level of proof that is required? Or like how do we determine intent? And nobody fucking addressed that. But yeah, I'm gonna do more due diligence on my side to make sure that I am familiar with I'm going to try to be more familiar with people that I join debate panels with, like at the very minimum, so that I know how spicy I'm allowed to be. Because, right, if I had known who some of these people were, I would have been a lot spicier. And not a single person was willing to entertain you asking, okay, what other word do we use? I mean, the kind of answers that they gave to that question, they gave some answers, but they just didn't satisfy me. Like the college student who said, you would call it systemic discrimination. And I'm like, that's fucking retarded. Like, if I had known that PB is like a DGGer, is that right? Like, power bottom politics is a DGGer. If I had known that, I would have probably just dropped the slur, you know? If I had known you were going on a debate panel with Zonia, I would have given you the full lore dump. I should have checked. I gotta check in with my friends before I do this again. They literally could not engage with the concept of falsifiability. What's a DGGer? If you've ever heard of the streamer called Destiny, who used to be on Twitch and I think is now banned on Twitch, and is also like has been multiple times banned on Twitter. Destiny, true. So DGG is a reference to his website. Yeah, no, I know he's back on Twitter now. All I knew was Malcolm and Rose were on there, and you know Malcolm better than I do. Yeah, I don't know Malcolm like super well. I like him even when we disagree. I feel like he makes me laugh even when I'm disagreeing with him, and we're cool. Rose, I only know as being deeply irritating, and that's the only people who I was aware of who were like, I knew some of the other people's names, but I wasn't familiar with them beyond, oh, you exist on Twitter, cool. Destiny's fucking nuts and real fashy. Yeah, what's this about Lemkin? Yeah, so part of the reason, like, why the title of the stream is what it is, and we will get into talking about the Lemkin Institute shit in a little bit, is that this has been on my notes for like a couple weeks, and I just have not wanted to read it. So what it is the Lemkin Institute, which studies genocide, made a statement. Yeah, the Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention made a statement on the genocidal nature of the gender critical movement's ideology and practice, and it's not, gender critical. I think a lot of us, when we hear that, we think of what's happening in the UK, but this is this calls out a lot of shit that's happening in the United States as well, just from my brief skim through the article. So, fucking that supposed expert who said that, Lemkin, who established the Genocide Institute, he said that the black people are not experiencing a genocide. Like, well, the institute that he founded now is saying that, yes, all of the things that we are experiencing now is genocidal. But that was another aspect of my due diligence, is I probably should have read that article before going on the panel. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Zonia used to be part of the White Forest Co-op, and she burned her position there because she wouldn't stop harassing me. Yeah, like, I talked to Demon Mama about it a little bit, and she said that, yeah, Zonia got kicked out of the co-op. I'm like, wow, I should have checked with you all. Like, I didn't know the deep lore. Oh my God. I knew the debate had gone off the rails when someone, I forget who, said the rape of Nanjing massacre at Nanjing was not a genocide. Right, that's the guy who I don't know if the dude like specializes in genocide. The guy who was on the panel, who was there as like an expert to help with definitions and stuff. He said that he studies like Eastern culture, but not specifically genocide, but that he's read about genocide, and so all he can do is appeal to like, well, this person decided that it wasn't. Over and fucking over again. Okay, I don't need to get worked up. That is the kind of thing that I find really irritating. I don't like that guy, because that's all he does is say like, well, the definition is what it is, but it's been argued at various times by like, this is why I think that courts are fucking stupid. Like, I just think like it's such a dumb fucking way to try to ascertain the truth. Like, yeah, that was his literal entire thing was, well, there are some cases, he was like, oh, and extermination is not even necessarily part, like extermination, even if it's present, does not necessarily imply a genocide. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot, and I don't care about what you have to say. Like, I hate that guy. Oh, the Lemkin Institute is named after Lemkin, but not founded by Lemkin. They used to focus primarily on crimes against humanity in Iraq, but have since expanded their mission. Oh, cool. Yeah. Hi, Emma. Zonia's defensiveness / alarm / aggression went to 11 when GM brought up that point on indigenous genocide to PB and then never really cooled down. Right. Yeah, like hostility. Yeah, I don't know anybody's fucking pronouns. Zonia was, like I said, more passive-aggressive than aggressive, but she was definitely, I felt rude, like pretty rude to me. Right. I think that we should have focused in on that, like, okay, well, have indigenous people been genocided, right? Like, but I think we would have gotten stuck in that same thing where Brennan, I think his name was, would have come in and been like, well, they, so-and-so says that it's not, whatever. I don't know. Anyway. Hey, there's like 64 people here. Normally, I don't ask for this in the first, while we're still chilling time. But if you haven't liked the stream yet, hit like on the stream. I think people enjoy the parts of the stream where we just fucking chill and hang out, So, please hit the like button, because people immediately show up when you do that. If you say no, indigenous people haven't been genocided, then you are not fit to discuss genocide. Right here, like, I failed at a couple of things during that debate. And one of the things was the genocide, like, either here on our soil with Native Americans or the camps. Like, someone on the panel said there's a difference between exploitation and genocide. And I wanted to be like, okay, so all the Jews in the work camps who were being put to work, was it genocide at that point? Well, sometimes people died in the work camps. Was it genocide when they died incidentally in the work camps that they had been stolen from their homes to be forced to work in? Or was it only a genocide when they took those people out of the work camps and started putting them through gas chambers. Like, this is like that's a question that I really should have asked. Or in the instance of the Native Americans, like, okay, so if they're stealing children away and like brainwashing them and beating them when they speak their mother tongue, like, is that not genocide? And probably Johnny Scarlett would have said, well, that's cultural genocide. And I would be like, okay, well, you've just described a rectangle square situation. Like, a cultural genocide is a genocide, you dumb fucking assholes. Johnny's not dumb. That was me speaking to the panel as a whole. Yeah, and like one of the other things, or yeah, like, and that's notwithstanding the fact that I actually do think that Johnny Scarlett called that a cultural genocide, the Native Americans. And it's like, are we just pretending like there haven't been so many mass graves discovered on this continent of like children at these schools, whatever. And then the other point that I really should have made, this is one that I deeply regret not making, is that Zonia and Johnny Scarlett both kept saying, oh, well, you know, trans people are so accepted right now. And God fucking no, God damn it, Malcolm did this shit too. Like, trans people are so well accepted right now. They keep proposing these laws, but they're not passing. A certain percentage of the populace says that they're pro-LGBT. And afterwards, I realized I should have been like, yeah, you know, there has been a lot of progress in acceptance and understanding in the United States with regards to trans people and queer people in general. You know when else was a really great time for trans people? Like a time when they really fit in super well in society and they were like medically accepted and people studied their lives without stigma? The Weimar Republic. Thank you. Everybody else knows. Yeah, I should have brought it up during the debate. I'm fucking pissed off that I missed that. That was a very, very serious oversight on my part. But it's hard when you're the only person arguing your point and 5 other people, you know, all get to interrogate you on your position. So, yeah. Hitler tried to overthrow Germany in the beer hall putsch, but he failed, so it's okay. I know, right? And none of them addressed the stochastic terrorism aspect of it either. People kept saying, like, I don't really think we're seeing deaths happen, as though, like, I think that these people just don't, haven't studied history and don't understand that, like, roaming gangs of extremely heterosexual men would, like, beat up gay people and, like, break up, like, Jewish meetings and fucking, like, burned a bunch of our books. Like, the Proud Boys are doing that kind of intimidation now. They don't get that it's not like in the movies, right? Like, you know, that's like one of the big things is that it's not just what you can do through the limited legal channels. So I feel bad for all of them. I really do. Like, I feel bad for all of them because they're all gonna die. Well, fucking Zonia, who accused me of taking an unrealistic position because it's a luxury to move, when I did not say you should move. I said you should flee, you know, like you should leave. That's, you know, with everything you can carry. She fucking lives in California. So yeah, she'll be fine for a while. The one who lives in Louisiana, fucked. They don't want to be challenged from their position of security. I mean, honestly. Holy crap, that fleeing a Holocaust as a privilege was a hell of a take. And then, like, and nobody ended up coming back around to address when I clarified my point. I was like, I am talking about selling everything you own in order to afford a plane ticket to leave. Like, that's not a privilege. That's giving up everything you own and becoming a refugee. And nobody addressed that. Very irritating. The idea that fleeing is a luxury really grinds my gears as someone whose family had to flee. I'm really sorry to hear that. Oh my god. Hey, Koopa, welcome to the website. What's up? Just got done watching that VOD of the trans genocide panel. Lux being bombarded on all sides by shit libbery and still standing strong. Listen. I did awesome. I did awesome. Hey, African refugees almost dying on rafts in the sea. Check your privilege at the door. A fucking men. Someone had said, "What's up, Beyonce Ford?" Someone had said, "I need to go and justify my own existence as a rejoinder to your argument," but that sentence actually proved your point. They just proved my point a lot. If by no other means than, like, they proved my point by being repeatedly unable to, like, actually grapple with anything that I was saying, you know? Whatever. Anyway. I wanted to kind of process it out a little bit more since I've had a couple of days to sit on it. I really did recover. Like, I really did need to recover for a couple days. Fuck, like, even if people are privileged enough to flee a genocide on their private yacht, they should get out. It's like a zombie movie. That's like, that happened at the end of what, like Dawn of the Dead? They go out on a boat. And they still die. In the post-credits scene. Spoilers. I'm so glad you're owning your W in that panel. You generally did amazing. Thank you. No, yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm too cool. I'm too awesome. Back when I liked Zack Snyder as a director, I haven't watched that one in such a long time, but it's so weird. It has like a weird, like, zombie baby born. It's fucking so strange. None of them running defense will be safe either if everything goes down bad. Right? Like, why are they doing it? Live on the ocean. There's a reason oceans are transcontinental. They belong to us. Maritime law. It's motherfucking trans law. Hello, Christy. Welcome in. 69 viewers. I know. You ruined it. Jesus allegories. How Snyder loves them. He's such a weird guy. The Luxander. Yeah, okay, so this is another thing. Mama Mephistopheles, thank you for saying this. This is another thing that I didn't really bring home. Baphomet, if you do end up dipping soon, good night. I hope you sleep well. Mama Mephistopheles says, yeah, like, the solution they are implicitly advocating there is that instead of some people running, everyone should stay and die. They kept saying, we need to be nuanced. We need to have a numerous different approaches. There's more you can do besides leave. And I was like, yeah, but, like, I should have been more poignant, like, more clear and pointed about this. Like, but leaving is an option. And it's an option that is, like, some people don't have any choice but to take, you know? If it's like your 13-year-old is going to kill themselves if they get taken off of puberty blockers, like, it doesn't matter how expensive it is, you have to leave. They sounded like they had no idea how normal life is off the internet. It's weird how I feel like I have a better understanding of what real life is like, and I spend 98% of my time inside this house. Like, I don't go anywhere. Right, Proud Boys and GOP maggots are not nuanced at all. I gotta be nuanced. Like, sorry, nope, I'm gonna hold by. I didn't intend for it to be a conversation where at the end of it I had to be like, nope, fuck you guys, I hold by, and I will not relent. But that's the position that I was in. I could not give ground because I was the only person who was representing my side, so. But that's okay. I'm okay with being, like, extreme on certain issues, like rhetorically extreme, whatever. More trans people are coming out at the same time that the sea level is rising. Coincidence? Bum, bum, bum. Oh, fuck. It's not like it's particularly easy to leave a country either. It's hard enough to get a house in America if you don't have one. Imagine doing that in a strange country you've never been to and possibly can't speak the language. I mean, yeah, like, you just reminded me by saying that, Titanium Rat, that, you know, amongst the other things, like, in that same conversation of we should be doing a plethora of different things, and, like, they kept saying, like, we need to do mutual aid. Like, mutual aid to what? I snidely asked before pitching back to Will, who wanted to move the conversation further along because I knew that fucking Zonia wouldn't have been able to address the question directly. But my question was, like, mutual aid to what? You're aiding them in what way? One of the ways that I propose that we do some mutual aid is by establishing a network that helps people get out of the country or helps people get to a better state, at the very minimum. Like, we should, I think, first incrementally get people from red states into blue states and then continue on with like a pipeline to get people to Canada if that is an extra necessary step that they feel that they need to take for healthcare or whatever. But yeah, like, the Underground Railroad having saved only like 40% of slaves was another thing she argued. Yeah, she was like, it didn't even help everybody. Like, oh, okay, I guess it's better. Like, nobody should have done it then. What the fuck is wrong with these fucking extremely stable human beings? They're so stable. Anyway, I don't like... Yeah, that was Zonia. Yeah. I said, yeah, how about establishing like an underground railroad, basically? And she was like, oh, like, that's impractical to do because it didn't even really help that many slaves. Like, well, it helped a non-zero number of slaves, so I kind of feel like it's better than doing nothing. If you want to stay and fight and martyr yourself and get shot the next time you want to go take a piss at the mall, that's fine. Have fun. I will not cry for you. Like... You had it coming. You had it coming. You had it coming all along. If you'd have paid a fucking attention. Anyway. Yeah, I guess Harriet Tubman just wasted her entire, like, fucking 15 years of her life or whatever. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah, the debate was so much fun, Christy. It was so much fun. I did kind of have... there were a couple times that I got pretty spicy and like I interrupted people and I was kind of an asshole. So at least I had an opportunity to do that a little bit. I think we can safely say that I have my debate bro cred now. I have the debate bro cred now. You're allowed to be an asshole when it's 5v1. Yeah. I do wish I had gone a little bit harder, but I also like have a good relationship with Will and I don't want to like fuck up, having a cis dude who actually listens to me. You know what I mean? I missed the end. Yeah, the end. I was so tired by the end. No arslers, no debate bro cred. I think I should have called PB retarded at least once. That would have been satisfying. You were tired, but your closing statement was a banger. Thank you. Oh, man. To quote Matilda, just because you find that life's not fair, it doesn't mean that you just have to grin and bear it. If you only take it on the chin and wear it, nothing will change. That's true. I barely watched 1% of the debate. What the fuck were their stances? It sounds like you were the only person who was being realistic about there actually being a genocide. Yeah, Christy, that was like... We were talking about some of the frustrations that we had with the debate earlier, and yeah, one of them we talked about was that the premise of the debate was supposed to be, is there a trans genocide happening? And instead, they made the entire debate about optics. Like, they wouldn't meet me where we were supposed to meet on the hill of this particular question. Should have gone for gold and also slurred Zonia. It'd be discourse for weeks. Yeah, it would have been really funny. Anyway. Let's all take a drink of water, right? You could have at least said you fucked one of their parents. Listen. I don't want to bitch about this all night, all right? Although I am glad that I got some bitching in, and I'm glad that there are like 70 people here listening to me bitch. If you're enjoying listening to me bitch, hit the like button, please. It's free and it takes like a quick second, and it's immediately good for the channel. And we're going to start talking about something that actually matters here soon. We've got at least 2 major news things to go over tonight. One of them is we're going to go over the Lemkin Institute statement on the genocidal nature of the gender critical movement. And then, yeah, the other thing is, we probably are going to overall glance at the fact that there are a lot of bills being introduced against trans people right now, but I think we're gonna focus in on the one in Kansas, just because that's close to my heart, right? Hey, Anansi, I love you platonically. I love you all platonically. How are you? I may be sick. I hope you get to feeling better. Tonight, I've been doing okay. I'm tired, as per usual. I am gonna get in touch with someone about trying to get a loan for a bed soon, so we'll see how that goes. It's a Lux stream, so we need... yeah, at some point we gotta throw in a Korra rant or a prosthetic penis lecture. I know. Yeah, so I think here in a second we will get into reading this article from the Lemkin Institute. Oh damn, I don't watch Lux streams enough. We got Korra rants, penis lectures. Don't threaten me with a good time, Pepe. I don't like Korra. That's what ends up happening. Oh fuck, I don't remember how this is set up anymore. It's been such a long time since I messed with my Go XLR in any meaningful capacity. Like, which one is it? Is it, hold on. Is it, no, it's not this one. It must be this one. Is this one the old-timey radio? Does it sound like old-timey radio? Is it normal again? It should be normal again. Yeah, so this... There's, yeah, I tried to take off the reverb. But yeah, no, that's, I like to set, I have that one set up so that I can be like... And Korra coming in with the stupid fucking commentary from season 2. Like, yeah, that's... I should play with the Go XLR more, now that I'm in my new space. Oh, there's reverb. Hold on. Okay, I think I figured it out. My bad, my bad, my bad. Echo! Yeah. I vaguely remember how the buttons and controls on this thing work, so it's fine. Okay, season 2 was yeah, thank you. Season 2 was the worst, alright? No more verbs being read. Yeah, I sound like God. That's... When you have no argument, you argue definitions. So wait, when you have no agreement, you argue definitions? I mean, that was like, they wouldn't even get on board with me about the fucking definition. Anyway, whatever. Stupid conversation with stupid people. Not all of them. I'm very irritated at 2 people in specific on that panel. Hollow's partner likes Korra more than Avatar: The Last Airbender. Hollow likes Korra, but is super confused at Korra being better. Its partner is happy so far, though. They're different shows. Korra is enjoyable politically. Like, it has more interesting political questions, even though it still handles them in a very lib way, which is very stupid. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a lot simpler politically because it's just fascism bad the whole time, but it's a lot more interesting emotionally. Isn't there another Avatar series in development? Yes. Yes, there is. There is supposed to be... It's supposed to be the next one, like the one that will be born into the Earth Kingdom, because that's where we're at in the cycle, Earth Kingdom, as though we haven't had enough of the fucking Earth Kingdom. I'm really not excited about it. I'm not excited about it. Like, I truly think that it only has the potential to get worse from this point. Like, I really do think that it has no opportunity to improve from where it's at. Yeah, I follow Hello Future Me, who has a lot of videos about the subject of Korra. I saw his rewriting the show series. That was pretty cool. I don't know who Nano is, Anansi. My Cabbage Corp, true. Let's hope they ditch the Earth Kingdom quick. Right. Like, I don't know what else I don't know. I'll probably fucking watch it, but I'm not going to be excited about it. Whatever. Media takes are not what people are usually here for, all right? We're getting to that hour mark. Let's not have the is Korra a fucking anime or not? Is Avatar: The Last Airbender anime or not? I don't want to do that right now. It appears that the word liberal has more of a negative connotation by leftists. Has the definition of a liberal changed? Oh, okay. So I think that this is actually a really interesting question that'll get us off of the conversation that is making us lose viewers. So, yeah, I don't think that the definition of a liberal has changed. I just think that all of us have realized that liberalism is not in the left. Like liberal is in the center. And it has a negative connotation, I think, because like a liberal still believes that the system is working as intended and that it is producing good outcomes, right? Fundamentally, a liberal is still invested in is Cora phalloplasty, Jesus. Spider. It's a question of like liberals still think that you should give more money to cops. You know, liberals still think that policing is the way to handle homelessness. Liberals still think that we should give big corporations tax breaks. So leftists, I think, have a negative connotation of liberals because we get lumped in together, but we're very different. Like liberals and leftists are very, very, very different. But we're considered like when normies say the left, they are talking about Biden and like AOC and Bernie Sanders, all of which are not as far left as I am or as many of you are. Every time I'm arguing with a chud and they call me a lib, I just laugh. Like it's the most fucking stupid insult for a leftist. It's like, oh my God, you wish I was a lib. Like when you're a leftist arguing with a chud and they call you a lib, like you wish I was a liberal. I will expropriate your landlord's properties. Oh gosh. I think my housemate's partner got me sick. They didn't do their part in keeping the house clean like my housemate did. That's fucking shitty. I'm sorry, Anansi. Is it short for economic liberal? One might argue that it isn't very liberal, but by at least one historical definition, but I'm not caught up yet, and this might have context. I mean, like, yeah, originally the word liberal means XYZ, you know, the first time it was used in France or whatever the fuck, like, but currently when someone describes himself as a liberal, they're like, a liberal is someone who is socially progressive for the most part. And economically, they support the capitalist system and think that it's a good thing and it's producing favorable outcomes. Or that I think fundamentally the difference between leftists and liberals is that liberals believe that the system can be reformed, and I don't. This is the other thing. So here's the other reason why I think it's perfectly acceptable to call them libs, the people who I was arguing with on that panel, and not only like calling them libs, but like that is the fundamental problem between us, is that I'm an anarchist. I don't know if there's a specific type of anarchist, and I'm not saying I have any specific ideas of how society should look, but I don't believe in the government anymore. Like, I think that it's a bad thing and that it produces bad outcomes and that it cannot be reformed. So when I'm arguing with a bunch of people who are like, you should protest, you should vote, you should heckle your representatives, like, another thing that I should have brought up during it is, like, you don't actually have the right to protest anymore. First of all, like, your like ability to protest, you don't actually have it anymore. If there are places making it legal for a person to run over someone during a protest with their car, protest is no longer legal. You don't have the right to do it. Did we ever have that right, TBH? That's what I'm saying. Turning on like fucking fire hoses on people who are trying to protest for their right to equal participation in society and stuff. Like, we have always been like this. But hasn't the system always worked as intended? Isn't capitalism designed to fuck minorities over? That's kind of what I'm saying, Christy. Like, if when I'm talking about liberals, like they think the system is, well, I don't know if they actually think the system is working as intended, but they think that the system is producing good outcomes, or that if you reformed it enough, it could create good outcomes. And they don't have any mind, like they don't have any thoughts or intentions directed toward changing anything in a manner that actually is going to produce better outcomes, basically. Oh, I think Venusian Blavet hits on it really strongly. Liberals tend to have a reasonableness bias that isn't conscious of the fact that what seems reasonable to the average person is influenced heavily by power structures and society. That's the RGR problem. That's the RGR problem right there. She kept appealing. Do you all remember? RGR constantly would appeal to like what a reasonable person would believe, what a reasonable expectation of activity around people in public is, like, oh, yeah, the average reasonable person, by which she means conservatives. Because she's a conservative and she believes that everyone is like her. Thank you. Lauren in the YouTube chat says, your patience in the debate still amazes me. I think it worked about as well as it could have. It just wasn't, it wasn't just Jews who were genocided and persecuted for one thing. The denial is everywhere. That pissed me off too, that people were like, if you call what's happening to trans people a genocide, they're gonna think of the Jews and the Holocaust and they're not gonna believe you and they're thinking you're being stupid. It's like, well, maybe that's not my problem. Maybe that's a problem of our history books not teaching that trans people were also genocided, you know? Like, I find that really personally offensive, actually. Zonia, in particular, was like, she was saying she has family members living who remember things about the Holocaust, and that, you know, people like that might be kind of offended to hear me say that trans people are undergoing a genocide. I find that really, really personally offensive. Because we were genocided. Like, it's... And like, even Jewish people now are like, yeah, no, this is very similar to what is happening when we, like, to what was happening back then. I had to go out of my way to find trans history. Yeah. And I even pointed that out. Like, this was it was an immediate shifting of the goalposts that happened at one point from Zonia, where I said, like, she was saying, like, anyone who you say the word genocide to is going to look at you like you're crazy or whatever. And I was like, yeah, because they've been brainwashed. They grew up in America and were educated in America. Congrats. And then she revised what she was saying to, like, experts are going to look at you like you're crazy. Like, what a bitch. Truly, truly what a bitch. Sometimes I think to myself, hey, you know, you're alone in a room with lights pointed at you and a camera, but this is actually public and people will be able to hear what you said later. And I'm like, I said what I said. Sorry, I said what I said. Especially, like, now that I know that Zonia is the one who was such a fucking freak to Gayfesh. Like, Gayfesh is my friend. Zonia is a bitch. Like, sorry. Degrees make you immune to propaganda. I've talked to some of the DC activists who used to work with RGR, and the tea they've spilled. We've even had news about RGR where some, like, the person who was the head of the LGBT board that she was on, like, resigned over basically, like, power consolidation behaviors that RGR and the rest of the panelists, or, like, the rest of the board were participating in. Oh, I was apologizing for the misogynistic slur, Knox. Like, I called Zonia a bitch, and I am transmasc, so I'm sure some people would think that that's not appropriate for me to say, but I also call myself a bitch, so, because I have all the gender words. I'm non-binary, which means I can say what I want. That's kind of the position that I've evolved to at this point. She's a spoiled rich kid and her entire world understanding comes from that. Oh, I'm not surprised. Jeez Louise. All my homies love Gayfesh. True. Could be kind of affirming though, eh, Lux? True. If Vosh is allowed to say it, then surely you are. Pretty sure he's not allowed to say it. He just does. Oh boy. Your gender is whichever one gives you access to the most slurs. Correct. That's true. My gender is whichever one gives me access to the most slurs. It's not wrong if you're correct. It's not misogynistic if it's correct, right? If she is a bitch, it's not misogynistic to call her a bitch. That's fucked up. I'm gonna get in trouble one of these days. I love how we have this like tiny like little corner of the internet that we've carved out together, you and I, Horties, and no one really pays that much attention to me. So I kind of get away with being a little shitty, and no one is like, I'm canceling Luxander. I'm like, no one gives a fuck what I do, and it's kind of great. Vosh has never gotten backlash for ironic misogyny. That's what I'm saying, Grady HD. It's never happened. So I want to make sure I have this correct. Anarchists. So I have to say, Christy, I do not represent anarchists, and I don't really know what anarchists as a whole think. I just know that, like, I think that the state as a fundamental concept is a bad idea, I think. Or at least the way that we've structured it now is fundamentally a bad idea. And so I can't, and so that's just, I just think that that's like definitionally what it, like when you have come to the conclusion that you do not think that the government should exist as it does and it should be a completely different non-hierarchical structure that's decentralized, I think that's what anarchy means, or at least probably certain subtypes of it. So, but your question is like, do anarchists basically believe that the current shitty state of America is a predictable outcome because of that's just how capitalism is designed? Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know. I mean, yeah, I don't think that our government would exist the way that it does without capitalism. Could our government exist the way that it does without capitalism? These are like the kind of questions that are coming to my mind when you say this. I think, me personally, I think that the way that our government has been set up is uniquely susceptible to fascism, which is another reason why I think, you know, neoliberalism and liberalism get critiqued the way that they do. Because I think, and I'm not saying uniquely as in they are more susceptible to fascist takeover than others, but just that in a number of unique and very specific ways, a liberal Republican democracy, quote unquote, as we have set up, is susceptible to fascism. Yeah, of course our country is susceptible to fascism. Fascists modeled their laws after ours, truly. So I think that the way that the system is designed in a way that, like, we don't have power over anything, and we will continue to not have power over anything, and it's not going to be good. We need to change it or leave. I mean, there's no country that I can go to that isn't still... Like, there's no country that I would personally feel safe in anyway, like even in the first world countries, that isn't operating on those same frameworks that are like uniquely prone to fascist takeover, right? I'm just waiting for the day when an Essence of Thought or Lily Stan stumbles on this stream and clips the part where you were being misogynistic against an innocent woman. Well, I'm considering making the VODs much easier to get a hold of because people don't seem to like follow the second channel very much. And also I don't fucking post there. Even when you say flee to Canada as an option, one of the most prominent trans streamers on the planet was swatted and booked under her dead name in Canada. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. EOT has already had a run-in with the dragon. Yeah, Essence of Thought has already tried to stir up shit with me and cancel me and like get in touch with other trans people who were talking to me in public and being like, did you know what Luxander did? Like trying to snip off all of the cords of connection that I have within this community. This is why I'm friends with the type of people that I'm friends with now. People who aren't gonna play with that shit. If someone has a problem with me, you can talk to me about that problem. I may or may not agree with you that there even is a problem, but like the fundamental basic respect of the relationship is like, I don't want to be friends with people who are gonna make public call-outs and do weird power tripping shit. I don't know. Essence of Thought does a lot of weird power tripping shit. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. Right. Quantum Cactus also points out even one of the better amendments, the 13th, slavery is banned except as a punishment for a crime. I've recently read that like a fuck ton of different products are actually produced through slave labor. Like a lot of shit. Like I heard a lot of makeup in the United States is produced through slave labor in the prisons. I did not know that. I'm probably canceled 200 times more than is normal for someone of my size. It's weird. People fucking hate you, Gayfesh. People just ignore me for the most part. Essence of thought, Spider. Essence of thought. Did you hear that? Luxander said a slur? Yeah, what? Only one? Oh, Koopa. Yeah, you remember back in the day when the atheist community of Austin shit happened with rationality rules and all that? Yeah. They will use this to make another video about your supposed misogyny. I really am curious if it would hurt the channel for me to make the VODs, I don't know, maybe I should not make the VODs public on my main channel, but maybe I should put the playlists of unlisted videos on my main channel and stop bothering with trying to upload the full VODs to a separate channel, because that shit's fucking annoying. That was some cringe times. Yeah, true. A slur? What, just now? Which one? No, a few days ago. Oh, must have been a day ending in a letter. It was a day ending in Y, for sure. Gentle Rose is coming in saying, I watched the debate this morning and was yelling at my phone during it. I feel like all the people in that debate were in a weird liberal mind rot bubble. Fucking fair. I think the worst take was that you can't genocide trans people just because more trans people will be born in the future. It's not. Yeah, the person who made that argument, I think, is just a little naive. Like, I think that they described that they had been trying to get on testosterone for 2 years and described themselves as a trans elder. I was like, Johnny, what the fuck? I laughed at that, actually. If you were here during the stream, you may remember that I laughed at that, because that's hilarious. I'm sorry. And also, like, yeah, like, if you, like, I'm a trans elder, okay? I'm 28 years old. I came out when I was 15. I started hormones when I was 21. I'm a trans elder. I've been here. I know these things. Yeah, I don't know how old Johnny is. Johnny, I think, is in, like, Johnny is in, like, college or around college age, like right around 20 years old or so, I would guess. So he said he's been looking to get testosterone for 2 years, but can't because all the local doctors don't want to prescribe it to him. But I'm like, how long have you been out? Maybe 3 years, maybe? You're a trans elder, really? The fact that you would think that about yourself, like, and maybe they were saying within their community. Maybe he was saying just, like, of the people that they know locally, maybe everyone else they know in the area came out after them, which I guess would make them relatively a trans elder. But I think that even in that situation, you should defer constantly and say, actually, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about just because I'm the most informed person of all of us idiot teenagers in fucking Louisiana. But you should still be like, I do not, like, I feel like maybe 10 years is when someone is a trans elder. Yeah, like, when you've been out for 10 years. I'm almost 30 and have been living as a girl since I was 5. Calling myself elder would still feel like stolen valor to me. I mean, there's a distinction between, like, an elder and, like, a trans elder, right? I'm 17 and I may have been out longer than Johnny. Am I a trans elder? Maybe. Are you being medicalist right now? No. I'm not being medicalist. I'm gatekeeping the amount of time that someone has known that they're trans or has been, like, I guess been out as trans and, like, been participating in the community and trying to learn about it. I'm gatekeeping on the basis of time. Like, if someone had been out for 5 years and they told me that they're a trans elder, I would be like, baby, you don't get to say that to me. Like, baby girl, you don't get to say that to me. Poppy is a baby trans, and Keffels is a trans elder, and Poppy is more than 10 years older than Keffels. Yeah, exactly. Heterotemporality. Thinking that you're a medicalist. Yeah, listen. Wait, what about 1489? Actually, being older as a trans elder is more hope-giving because people see it's possible to live a life. Just saying. I mean, there are fucking people who have asked me specifically to make content. Is the stream fucking hiccuping to anybody right now? It seems like it's being a little bit goofy to me. People have asked me to make content of me just doing regular stuff. Like, they were like, I find it really comforting to see there aren't very many non-binary people that you get to see just being normal. Been getting dropped frames. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Probably just the internet. YouTube is being shitty for me. I don't know that it's the stream. Because I keep seeing it hiccuping a little bit, and I'm just not sure if it's something that I have any control over. It says that the stream is fine. So, oh well. Oh, God. Lagging a tad. Trans elder age, true. The voice filters earlier made it lag worse. Interesting. Oh, people have been having this happen on other streams, though. Well, that's good. Okay, so I guess we should talk about this Lemkin shit now, since we've spent a good long time kind of talking about other stuff. I came out in 1990 when I was 5, but it never worked out. Holy shit. It's a long time ago. All right. Pulling up my notes. Pulling up my article that we're going to read here. There we go. Quite nice. Yeah, I should have covered this like a month ago. I just kept putting it off. And wow, is this multiple pages long? Or is it just the one? Okay, no. This is just one fucking huge, enormous statement. But we might go through the whole thing. Here we go. I'm going to refill my water. You all should make sure that you've topped off your drinks as well. Get yourself a little bit of snacky snack, because we're going to talk about a really, really long statement from the Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention. BRB. Okay. Oh, okay. Get out of here. We got a drink. We're getting all settled in here. Ready to talk about some annoying shit. I've been subbed to this channel longer than I've been out as trans. Gotta go to work. See you later. But what if my drink was absinthe? What have you condemned me to, Lux? Hey, what's up, Guitar Rocker? How you doing? Hopefully you're having a good new year so far. Let's see. As an anarchist, I'm not a fan of statements because they contain states. Oh my god, true. I'm a bad anarchist. Okay, I'm okay feeling a little emotional right now, and it's kind of euphoric. Nice. I've been feeling a little emotional right now, and it doesn't, and I'm not happy about it. Oh well. If you're here and you've not yet hit like really quick, because that'll help us as we're getting ready to start about a real segment. That'll bump us up a little bit. This edible took forever to kick in. Hopefully it hits hard, or is a slow burn up to a nice place. I don't know. I don't really have access to edibles. I would not know. So the Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention is it's an organization that was established quite a while ago. Lemkin, I believe, is the person who established the definition of genocide originally for the UN. So the Lemkin Institute is like built on Lemkin's work and is, I guess, it's considered like an authority on the matter, right? And we're talking about this because of the debate that I did previously, and I should have read this before I did the debate because this subject came up of do the experts agree with you about the definition of genocide? My position, yes, genocide is happening toward trans people, toward black people, toward Native Americans, toward Hispanic people, migrants, and I didn't know that I had the authority on my side. At least one authority on my side. So that's what we're doing today, is we're reading this Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention Statement on the Genocidal Nature of the Gender Critical Movement's Ideology and Practice, published November 29, 2022, a couple of months ago. So I want to be clear, it says gender critical movement, and I think a lot of us think of the UK when we hear gender critical, but this is going to be talking about stuff happening in the United States here. So the Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention voices its concern over the growing number of laws introduced in the United States that target trans individuals and the trans community. Anti-trans hostility in the U.S. has become a staple of the Republican Party's election strategy and is clearly being used to stoke voters' fear of a changing world by raising the specter of a malevolent polluting force tied to liberalism, cosmopolitanism, and democracy. The Lemkin Institute believes that the so-called gender-critical movement that is behind these laws is a fascist movement furthering a specifically genocidal ideology that seeks the complete eradication of trans identity from the world. Okay? There it is. We're going to keep reading through the whole goddamn thing. Let me get to the link. Babes. Here you go. There's the link. Boop, boop. All right. Genocidal ideologies are ideologies that deny or seek to erase the existence of a specific group because of the supposed threat it poses to the holders of that ideology. The gender-critical movement simultaneously denies that trans identity is real and seeks to eradicate it completely from society. Many gender-critical ideologues identify themselves as feminists and believe themselves to be protecting women from men. They accuse transgender women of being stealth men and of transgender men being self-hating women. Yeah, I mean, like, we all know that this is true. It's really nice to see an authority kind of like put it in so many words, though, because and like acknowledging that the pendulum swings in both directions, where like they hate trans women because of these reasons and hate trans men for these reasons. There's not nearly enough focus and attention on how much they go after and attack trans men, I believe. So the movement, a centerpiece of right-wing ascendancy in the Western world, calls for discrimination against and harassment of trans individuals and the trans community through laws and policies that criminalize trans identity and trans life. The Lemkin Institute is alarmed by the growing number of attempts in the Western world to enact policies and spread prejudice that threaten the well-being and even the existence of trans people. The gender-critical movement is a loose international affiliation of people and groups who promote far-right ideas that have gained a degree of centrist respectability through their purported defense of women. Oh, my computer has frozen up a little bit. Here we go. Come on now. That was my actual computer freezing up. Please don't. The movement alleges that people cannot determine their own sex or gender, and that the genitalia observed by doctors at birth are the final determinants of biological sex, as well as the permanent markers of gender belonging. Focusing primarily on the imagined threat posed by trans women, gender-critical ideologues believe that trans women are in fact men who are seeking to dominate cis women by impersonating them and thereby gaining access to women's bathrooms, locker rooms, sports teams, and other women's spaces. They routinely accuse trans people of being mentally ill and believe that the parents, family members, and medical professionals who support trans people are committing morally reprehensible acts against the transgender individuals by nurturing the, quote, illness, and against society at large by permitting dangerous people and ideas to take root. Yeah, they haven't played into sex essentialism. Yeah, this is really good. Like, again, these are all things that trans people have been saying for a while. It's very clear what they're doing. Like, the gender critical ideology is an extermination attempt. Like, that's what the expressed purpose of their ideology is. They want there to be no trans people. They think that trans people aren't really trans. We're just sexual predators. And the reason why we want to allow children to transition is so that we indoctrinate them into our sex cult where they will be sexually available to us. Like, it's crazy the things that they actually earnestly believe. Let's keep this rolling. The ideological constructions of trans women promoted by gender-critical ideologues are particularly genocidal. They share many features in common with other better-known genocidal ideologies. Trans women are represented as stealth border crossers who seek to defile the purity of cis women, much as Tutsi women were viewed in Hutu power ideology and Jewish men in Nazi anti-Semitism. Trans people in general are framed as figures that threaten the wholeness of the patriarchal nuclear family, as well as the strength and vitality of national communities, much in the way that ethnic and national targets of genocide are viewed as cosmic enemies of the perpetrator group. Right, like, you know, trans people in general being framed as, you know, threatening the wholeness of patriarchal nuclear family and the strength and vitality of national communities, right? Like, this is, you know, one thing that I don't do a good enough job of highlighting when I'm talking about the fact that trans people were also genocided during the actual Holocaust is that disabled people are considered like they were killed as well because they threaten the strength and vitality of national communities, you know? So, much like the religious targets of genocidal violence, trans people are often described as somehow polluted, sinful, or against God. They are blamed for a host of social problems that have nothing to do with them or with the free expression of their identities. Yeah, disabled and queer people were the first targets, even before the Jews. They're easier to target, right? Yeah, trans people are cosmic. True. The Lemkin Institute reminds readers that one of the first libraries to be burned under the National Socialists in Germany was the Library and Archive of Magnus Hirschfeld's Institute for Sexual Science in Berlin, a groundbreaking research organization studying human sexuality and gender. I don't know that I've done like a big... Yeah, no, I made a video previously about the Nazi ideology, like the Nazi ideology toward gay people, and in that video... we do talk about specifically the Magnus Hirschfeld Institute. So if I can remember later, I'll put a link in the cards for you guys. So let's see. The Nazis, like other genocidal groups, believed that national strength and existential power could only be achieved through an imposition of a strict gender binary within the racially pure, quote, national community. A fundamentalist gender binary was a key feature of Nazi racial politics and genocide. That's probably the specific origin of the military ban Trump did, seen as weak, hurting national readiness, etc. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, like the idea that trans and queer people shouldn't be in the military is 100% about posturing national strength. But keeping in mind that it was a Democrat who signed that into law, the don't say gay shit, like the don't ask, don't tell in the military. That was Clinton, right? Am I misremembering? That was Clinton. Moving along here, in the United States, the Republican Party has introduced a barrage of anti-trans laws and policies in multiple states since 2016. According to the ACLU, there have been 286 anti-trans bills introduced between January 1st, 2021 and October 13, 2022. Most of the anti-trans bills that have been passed and signed into law across the country have to do with the eligibility of trans athletes to participate in school sports. Thankfully, many of the most dangerous bills have not been enacted into law yet, including Bill, oh no, this is one from last year. Yeah, this is one from last year. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Kansas SB 214. In a little bit later in this stream, we're going to talk about another Kansas bill related to this that has just been pre-filed last week, and the email that I sent my senator. So this bill criminalized gender reassignment surgery and hormone replacement therapy for minors. And then there was Missouri House Bill 2086, a bill that would prohibit a person from changing their gender marker on their birth certificate. That's a fucking problem. I have people in Missouri that we need to get these this is like, okay, this is where you know it's a genocide, where you're like, oh, I have a family member who lives in a state that might be trying to take away their ability to change their birth certificate. Like, for the sake of their safety going forward, we need to do that like now. Like, I don't have the money to afford this, but like, this is one of those things, like, you know, I have a young trans person in my family. They're going to be a legal adult relatively soon. And I'm like, we need to get your name and your gender marker changed now so that you can enter your adulthood completely without the stigma of your former name. You know, it's fucked up. This is like one of the things that was so frustrating about that panel, being like, I don't think you all understand. Like, I don't know if they just don't care as intensely as I do, but man, it's like, when I realized that my brother was going to need my help in this way, like, there is nothing in this more important to me than that. And like, my entire priorities for the next 3 years have shifted to like helping my siblings. Yeah, anyway. So where are we? All these laws seek to create a society that is hostile to the very idea of trans identity, and in which it is impossible to live openly and legally as a trans person. It must be said that the reality of trans identity cannot be challenged. Trans people have existed throughout history. God, this is so... It's just good to hear someone actually saying it. Jesus. In many societies, particularly before Western colonial domination, social institutions existed to make room for trans people. Scientific research on sexual development has demonstrated the complexity of biological sex and the biological basis for gender diversity. Furthermore, gender identity is a very private and subjective matter that engages with deeply felt realities and the social constructions that exist in society. It is a part of the process of human expression that is protected by human rights, universal human rights, and the U.S. Constitution, such as the right to life, liberty, and security of a person, equal protection of the law, the right to privacy, and the freedom of expression. Like other identities, gender identities outside the narrow binary are legitimate and protected. They're supposed to be anyway. This is what I mean about the system being like, you know, vulnerable to exploitation, that it's supposed to be that these things are protected, your freedom of expression and everything, your right to privacy and all. But bear in mind also that the right to privacy was never enumerated in the Constitution. The right to privacy was like assumed by the Supreme Court. And it was the fact that it's not explicitly enumerated in the 14th Amendment. That's why we lost Roe v. Wade. Like, that's the explicit reason, is because you don't actually have the right to privacy. So only these things which are explicitly enumerated in the Constitution, only those things are safe. And even those things are possibly not safe because the Republicans have absolutely been talking about trying to have a constitutional convention, which means that they're trying to amend it, which is not good. You don't want them to be able to do that. You really don't. Okay, here we go. The gender critical movement, though it often claims scientific accuracy, is in fact ignoring the most rigorous and up-to-date science on sex and gender. Scientific research on gender diversity aligns with what we know about biological diversity more generally and challenges the fundamentalist binary concept of sex and gender differentiation. The fundamentalist interpretation of gender and the obsession with the gender binary hurts all people who do not conform to traditional gender stereotypes, not just trans people, by imposing strict norms on human expression and experience through the use of shame and stigma, or in some cases just straight up making any performance where a person could be perceived as cross-dressing adult only and or illegal, which is cool. Scientific research has shown, in contrast, that supportive parents, schools, and communities, as well as gender-affirming healthcare, lead to improved mental health and life outcomes for trans people, and therefore also for all the people who love and cherish them. You know, people don't consider that there's a benefit to them as well. All attempts to further marginalize and indeed to criminalize trans identities contributes directly to the high level of societal violence that already exists against trans people, as well as to the high levels of mental and physical health challenges that exist within the trans community, including suicide. Yeah, someone posted on Twitter the other day, they were like, why is it that neurodivergent and queer people both have so many stomach problems, both have IBS? And I was like, It's stress. I'm pretty confident that that's why. It's not like what that one former doctor who's not a doctor anymore tried to prove a correlative, like a causative relationship between gut problems and autism. Like, I think it's just stress. I think it's just stress, y'all. Let's see. The Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention points out that the gender critical movement is not about protecting women. It is about exacting control over the bodies of marginalized people and thrusting them outside of the community of moral obligation if they fail to conform to the norms of the gender that has been assigned to them by others. In other words, the gender critical movement seeks to allow the deepest aspects of human experience and self-knowledge through seeks to control, not allow. Jesus, let me start that sentence over. In other words, the gender critical movement seeks to control the deepest aspects of human experience and self-knowledge through genocidal aggressions against an historically marginalized and silenced community that has just begun to flourish and gain acceptance. The gender critical movement is a totalitarian and genocidal social force that targets not just trans people, but also all the institutions of democracy that protect individual and collective human rights. We must be coming to the close here soon, yes. While members of the gender critical movement may argue that they do not seek to kill the physical bodies of trans people, they do openly seek to eradicate transgender identity from the world, following a genocidal logic similar to the US, Canadian, and Australian boarding schools that sought to kill the Indian and save the man. They literally made the same argument that came up during our debate this past weekend, and people on the debate decided to just skip the question of, like, well, was what happened to the Native Americans a genocide? Yeah, another Luxander W. I'm just here collecting W's. That's all I am doing. All day, every day. Once it becomes acceptable for one group of people to be criminalized for expressing their identity, then society becomes vulnerable to the genocidal targeting of other groups as well. In fact, anti-trans initiatives are closely tied to assaults on the rights of women, people of color, minority religious communities, and immigrants in the United States and elsewhere. Decriminalization and harassment of the trans community can serve as a rehearsal for more generalized targeting of unwanted groups within a genocidal ideological structure. There is no shutting the floodgates once states and societies acquiesce to the eradication of a specific people from the earth. That's what the fucking poem is about. First they came for the communists, and I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the, it's because it doesn't ever stop at one group. People always think, oh, I'll probably be safe. It doesn't ever stop at one group. Even if you're white, there's still going to be like, well, are you Jewish? Are you Polish? Do you have, like, are you gay? Like, if you're gay and you're white, that's not going to really, like, the whiteness isn't really going to help you. Like, right. It just, let's finish this up. Let's see. The Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention expressed solidarity with trans people across the globe. We urge every person around the world to think about the precedents that are being set with the level of stigma, organized hate, and legal control being advocated by voices within the gender critical movement. I wish that they had touched on, they say organized hate, but I do wish that they had pointed out the fucking Proud Boys. We ask people to choose to protect the human rights of human beings who do not fit easily into the simplistic gender binary. We ask people to question what agendas they are serving by supporting anti-trans hate speech and policy initiatives. We encourage everyone to support people in their efforts to live as the person they know they are. We invite people to be open-minded and open-hearted and to learn about trans experiences. The real challenges to human life, to safe and secure families, and to healthy communities are historical injustices and structural inequalities, not people attempting to live full lives in their true identities. Are you Italian? Are you Southern Italian? Right. Yeah, I really appreciate this. And like, I don't know a huge amount about the Lemkin Institute, but I do know that it is, named for the guy who came up with the word, and they are considered an authority on this matter. I really wish I had known about this before I did that debate, but it's absolutely undeniable. If you know what the words mean, like what do words mean? It's a matter of fact that what's happening to trans people right now is a genocide. And people keep accusing me of that being optically bad. Like, I don't care. It's true. I don't care whether you think it's optically effective or not. all of those other centrist trans people, if they want, can try to appeal to cis normies or whatever. Like, that's not what my job is. That is not what my job is. I'm here to tell you like it is. I'm not here to fucking make you feel better about what's happening, because you shouldn't feel good about what's happening. You should be alarmed. And we got to try to stick together, mainly. What am mean words is. Indeed. What am mean words is. Yeah, Nancy says, remember when they questioned if black people were genocided? I was so mad I almost did punch a random white. Yeah. It was funny how, you know, again, I'm trying not to hammer on this all fucking night, but Power Bottom Politics tried to be like, what is the difference between what's been happening to black people and what's been happening to trans people? And I'm like, if you come at me and you ask me what the difference is, there isn't one. Like, I was frustrated by that point in the conversation, especially because they had to ask me twice. Like, I didn't tell the truth the first time. Yeah, of course, they said all the same things about optics about Malcolm X. Like, even when I was learning about the difference between MLK and Malcolm X, there were heavy respectability politics and optics arguments there, where, like, I didn't even learn as much about Malcolm X's actual political views, because it was basically just like, Malcolm X wanted to use guns and that's bad. That's like the extent of what I learned about it when I was younger. MLK good, Malcolm X bad. But he was and is still right. Yeah, I think I should study the life and political work of Malcolm X more, because I think we would probably be buddies, you know? True, MLK is Professor X, Malcolm X is a Magneto. They tried to switch it up. They tried to make it less obvious that that's what they were doing by calling Professor X. But no. I've been told, says Pydradig, says, I've been told by teachers and professors that the government-sanctioned killing of gay people in Chechnya wasn't a genocide because gay people aren't a culture, and because it was all done legally. That's, oh my God. I don't even want to think about that, because I would pop a fucking blood vessel, you know? Hey, Hellhound, welcome in. Just got here but finished watching that this morning. You stayed way more calm than I would have. The being able to flee your area is a privilege, so you shouldn't say that people should consider that even if it's their only option, maybe want to explode. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. It was a fucking nightmare. I did not have a great... I mean, like, I had fun, but it was not fun. Does that make sense? Like, I had a good time, but I didn't have a good time. Oh my God, water is so good for you. I think that MLK and Malcolm X are both good and did more good by both existing than either would have done individually. I can agree with that. I always think that there should be a plethora of different approaches. Like, I'm not going to say that people shouldn't stay here and fight for their rights and everything. No lemon in the water today. I just haven't cut lemons. I'm just being lazy. Yeah, I think that there should be a plethora of different approaches. And so I will not tell Zonia that she shouldn't stay here and keep fighting and doing all that shit. Like, I'm not going to tell her not to do that, but it kind of does seem like she was telling me not to do the Underground Railroad. Diversity of tactics. Amen. Have you had an uptick in views or subs since the panel? I think the biggest change I've noticed since the panel went out is that we've had a lot of people join the Discord. So if you're not a member of our Discord, you should hop in there. I would like it to be more active. It's kind of hard to get like regular conversation going in a Discord server, apparently. And it's just tough. So you should hang out there, though. Oh my God, excuse me. I still really don't know how Discord Discord servers work beyond voice calls. You got to have a voice ping role and hang out in VC. I have a voice ping role. I just don't want to hang out in VC. I don't know if will you join my Discord and hang out when I ping. Because otherwise I'm like, it's hard. Horties are cool. Disc horties are even better. Yeah. So if you get the hangout role, because I did add a hangout role for the voice chat, then you will be one of the people who gets pinged. I'm excited to do karaoke in your server. I don't know how you do karaoke in a group call, but I'm excited to do it. I feel like more people would probably join the VC if you pinged the VC role. No, what I'm saying is I don't want to hang out in the VC. Like, I don't really want to do that. Like, unless I feel fairly confident that like, it's just like, unless there's going to be someone specifically there that I'm like, yeah, I know you and I want to hang out with you. I never want to join a group chat. Like, even in Jess or Poppy and Xena's Discord server, I really only join when I see Gayfesh in there. Like, I really don't join unless Gayfesh is in there. So, you know, if I see that Poppy and Xena are in there, I might go in, but probably not, because I think that I think that there is just like there's a polycule dynamic, and that I feel very outside the group. How do I kindly explain to my friend about the transgenocide? He says genocide is what happened to the Jews in the Holocaust. Yes, but I don't have the sources to educate him. Yeah, I mean, I guess one of the places that I would start, Skylar, is pointing out that gay people and trans people were targeted during the Holocaust. The pictures that you've seen in your history book of Nazis burning books, those pictures came from a book burning specifically of the library at the Sexual Institute for Study, which was like the place to go if you lived in Berlin, if you needed hormones, or if you needed one of those pieces of paper that says, I'm a transvestite and I'm allowed to walk around cross-dressing because that's illegal right now. So that would be where I would start, probably. There's a Wikipedia page on like Nazi views toward homosexuality. So yeah, check that out. It is where the world's first vaginoplasty was performed. Yeah, and the woman that vaginoplasty was performed on was there when the students came and took all the books and burned them, and we don't know what happened to her. Like, she probably died. Like, they probably just killed her during that raid. I'd start with, is what happened to Jews in the ghetto pre-concentration camp still genocide? Yeah, that's right. Or just read the statement we just read. Yeah. Honestly, Trout Dealer makes a good point. I will post the link a second time so that you can see that this authority appeals to the same things that we're appealing to. Like, they establish, like, here's what genocidal intent means. She may have died from complications from the surgery. I just don't think that they ever specified. What was her name? Dora Richter. First known... Okay, so yeah. So nowadays... Hold on. Sorry. Let me do this like a good host. Sorry. With growing Nazi influence in Germany, a mob of students attacked the Hirschfeld Institute, and the state authorities then burned its records. Richter's fate after this attack is not known. Nowadays, it is presumed that she was either killed in the attack or was arrested after it and then died in custody. However, in 1955, Charlotte Scharlach, who fled Germany to Carlsbad in 1933, wrote in a pseudonymized article about Hirschfeld's sex change patients that Dora Richter was born in Carlsbad, Bohemia, soon became an owner of a small restaurant in the city of her birth. So yeah, it's just like not known what happened to her after that. There is no record of what happened to her after that. black people were also victims of the Holocaust, but we aren't talked about, so we were erased twice. I did not know that. Although I guess it makes sense if it's like, if you're Aryan, you know, then you're cool, but if you're not, then you're not. Like, it, you know, it being Aryan means like blonde hair, blue eyes, white. Female gaze guy is losing his shit. The ego cannot be contained. Wait, what? What are we talking about? What's up, Passion FM? How you doing? We were talking about two different people. Okay, yeah. I know about the Danish girl. I just don't remember who that was. Oh yeah, I would just want to also point out that at the very tippy top of the article, it says she was born 16th April 1891 and then died presumed in the year 1933. Like presumed dead 1933, because nobody knows. What are we looking at? I don't know if I want to watch this. What is this about? Before I don't want to just listen to some random fucking TikTok on stream if I don't know what it is about. Right, yeah. They hated black people. Jazz was called N-word and K-word music. It's not surprising to me. This is why I don't go anywhere, y'all. This is why I stay home. Because truly, it's a genocide time, and it's not a fun moment. I live in fear. I would love to be able to go... I live in fear of COVID also. So I can't say that I would go to a gay club and go dancing tonight if it weren't for... if it weren't for the shootings, because it is also for COVID that I won't go. It would be nice if we lived, like... K-word. It's a slur for Jews. It rhymes with a slur for lesbian women. Wait, why is God censored? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I have one of these clippies, so I'm just playing with it right now. Catholic. True. Yeah, it's in case you say goddamn. You're not allowed. I thought you were talking about the raccoon word. No, I thought that started with a C. Hello, Anthony. Welcome. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? I think that this is just me fidgeting. Thou shalt not take the name of your Lord God in vain. Yeah. I know, yeah. There is this blading dude on TikTok who got popular because he, quote, understood the female gaze. When all that he was doing was just, like, looking at the camera weirdly, and IDK cis women were just horny for it, and now his ego has gone through the roof. Do you ever pinch your lips with those? I don't really put these on my face very much. This is not, like, a thing that I would do in my free time. This is just me, like, being on stream. So, no, I don't like that. It doesn't feel good. I don't like it. Oh, it doesn't feel good at all. Anyway, munch. Yeah. Do you know those staple removers? The staple removers? Did anyone else used to play with those? Those were fun. IDK if I'm a male gaze or a female gaze. I know, it's difficult. I've never seen anyone do what you are doing. I don't know what I'm doing or why. They were little bitey monsters. I know, they... Gotta get the masochism fix, says Anansi. I guess so. Ugh. I don't get the frigging hate. We live in a beautiful world with so many different kinds of people, places, etc., but some people just can't seem to appreciate it. That reminds me of one of the things that I was really frustrated by that Johnny in particular kept saying during the debate, which was that oh God, sorry. Oh my God. My brain is farting out a little bit. But he kept saying like, oh, it's not that people want us dead. They are not trying to pass these laws against puberty blockers because they want to hurt trans people. They think they're protecting kids. And I'm like, my sweet summer child, you have been lied to. That's called lying. When they say that they want to protect kids, that's called lying. Maybe the average person that you talk to, grassroots, believes that, but the politicians who are saying that are lying. And so the people that you know who have genuine concerns about youth, those people have been lied to. This is why democracy is a bad idea. Right, yeah, people can do that. Just go on the internet and lie. How dare? Christ almighty. I'm back. I love the staple removers. I know. I just have genuine concerns about the Aryan race. And like, yeah, didn't Zonia make a couple of white genocide jokes during it? That was very fucking annoying. I like democracy. Listen, democracy is also vulnerable to bad shit. I'm not saying that there is even a perfect government system. There probably isn't one. When they pass a federal ban on child marriage, then I'll believe they give a crap about children. They truly don't. And the beauty pageants, the kid beauty pageants too. The same party who is super against trans people being around kids also don't really do very much investigation into foster homes who are literally sex trafficking the children that the government is just handing children to sex traffickers through the foster system. Like that's happening. And what we have isn't real democracy. Yeah, 70+% of people wanted to keep Roe v. Wade, but it went away. Who started calling the Supreme Court like priests? Because I've heard Demon Mama do it, and I think I've heard Vosh do it as well, like referring to the Supreme Court justices as like some kind of like priesthood. Was it Vosh who started that? Yeah. They're unelected, like holy interpreters of the divine word of fucking Thomas Jefferson. I'll have to check out the debate VOD later. I finished the Keffels versus Poly People one about Finster, and I wanted to eat hot lead after that. I can't say that watching the debate that I did is going to make you want to eat hot lead any less. So yeah, maybe try to recover from the other debate first. Yeah, Anthony, I have pepper spray. I am doing my best to keep safe. Good night, Pydradig. Enjoy. Your name sounds like a Pokemon. Was Poly People anti-Finster? Oh, yeah, she definitely was. Like, I was kind of unsure how I felt about the situation, and I engaged with some discussion with it on Twitter, and I've determined that Finster is a good guy. Yeah. I don't have any problem. Like, I would maybe have had a problem with what he does. And then he's like, I started a huge fund to help trans people. And I'm like, no, you're good. That's exactly what you should do. If you're a cis man who's like profiting off of the image of like being a femboy, materially forwarding the forwarding the goodwill towards trans people is, I think, the right thing to do. I have the intrusive thought that if I ever get curry takeout and they gave me the white person 5-star heat instead of the actual 5-star heat, I should just pepper spray the curry. I feel like it would get in your nose too much, you know? You have to take your curry outside in order to put the pepper spray on it. If this was genuinely a topic that mattered, I feel like it wouldn't have just been trans women having bad takes on Finster. You know, I also can't be fucked to care about it because of the genocide. Like, I feel pretty comfortable being like, oh yeah, I don't really care about this, like, stupid shit. I think a large part of his community is also trans femmes. Well, yeah, I don't necessarily feel like Finster having a large amount of trans femmes in the community is a, like, that's not a redeeming quality to, like, if my criticism were Finster is, like, using the online popularity of femboys and trans women, and, like, you know, the audience seems to make jokes about him being an egg a lot. So, like, if my issue is profiting off of the popularity of trans femmes and being able to take it all off during the day, which is something that I could, yeah, like that, I think that is something that I could take issue with. And like it's a parasocial relationship that, like, I could see there being some, like, people who watch him because they're like countdown waiting for him to come out as trans. So in that way it would be like, okay, so not only is my criticism of this person that they're profiting off of the image of trans people, but that they're profiting off of, like, via trans people who are the primary people in the audience who are giving him money or whatever, you know. But yeah, I mean, if you pay it forward, then yeah, I have no issues. From what I understand, he dresses like that 24/7. I thought that he didn't take it off. I don't know. I mean, that's fair too, Gayfesh. As someone who isn't at all hot like Finster and still gets called an egg, I don't know how much weight I give that shit. Any trans-friendly cis guy is gonna get called an egg. Fair enough. Which is why I've ultimately settled on, like, yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion about this. My hot take is it doesn't matter. Boys get to look hot. Fair enough. More hot dudes. It's, like, crazy how hot I find him as a girl, though. I see Finster on the timeline and I'm like, wow. Like, I'm like, that's a cute fucking girl, you know? Like, damn. And I do think it's like a classic video, and I think it is Finster. Like, it's like both of them are on Omegle or whatever, and it's like they're both femboys, and they're both kind of like this, and one of them's like, yeah, bro, why are you so fucking ugly? That's classic, you know? That's a classic video. I love it. I buy that Vosh is cis, right? I buy that Vosh is cis, yeah, I do think so. We spent so long saying men can look feminine, and then when one does, the trans community gets mad because he's hot. It's so toxic and dumb. I do think that people are annoyed with Finn because he's so hot. There's a picture of Finn shirtless. It's hilarious. It's like someone badly photoshopped a girl's face on a skinny guy. Oh my god. Vosh is too autistic to not have already realized whether he's trans or not. True. Right. Yeah, I think a lot of girls are just jealous because it's crazy how hot he is. I'm ignorant to this egg thing. Egg is a trans person who hasn't hatched yet. Like someone who doesn't yet know that they're trans, or perhaps they do think that they might be trans, but they're not ready to come out yet. So when we're talking about a person who identifies as a man but cross-dresses and looks a lot like a woman, and like that's the online persona that Finster has, is like a femboy, like a man or gender nonconforming man, I guess you could say, that like looks like a woman. And some people joke like, oh, he's an egg, like that he's gonna come out as trans eventually. I am a trans femme, and I am not jealous of Finster because I am hotter than Finster. Trolled. True. I gotta drink some more water. Only 2 hours tonight. Only 2 hours. So far. I'm not saying I'm ready to quit now. Although I am pretty tired. I just did have at least one other subject I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, Quantum Cactus says he's an egg. He's like way more expensive right now. I bought a dozen eggs for like $4. I was so upset. Good night, Spider. Like, why the fuck is 12 eggs fucking $4.18 or whatever the shit it was? It's frustrating. I have to be more discriminate in the settings that I lean into the egg jokes, because there are some people who would do the egg jokes with me and be like, you're one of the good ones because you're not a man. Oh, right. That's gross. Is it literally bird flu? Really? Dozen eggs here cost $5.79 for the generic store brand. Yeah, I buy the store brand. I feel like normally a dozen eggs is 99 cents. Like, truly, I'm pretty sure that normally a dozen eggs is like $1. Bird flu's been killing chickens like crazy. Okay. That would make sense why the I knew that there was some issue with there being a shortage of chicken meat also at some point. I'm still an egg. That's why my name is Maybe Skylar. I have a consult for top surgery next month. I still haven't decided if I want to go through with it. That seems like something you should have figured out. Like I normally would describe someone who has a consult with a surgeon to not be an egg anymore, but does that make me an egg? I'm not out to my family except my cis lesbian sister. I don't think so. I think part of the connotation behind egg is that you're not really aware yet, or you're not ready to accept that you're trans yet. Like, I think being an egg has more to do with whether you're willing to acknowledge yourself that you are trans. Yeah. Rather, as opposed to like, you know that you're trans for sure and you're just not ready to come out yet. It's about coming out to yourself. Getting top surgery so you can spin around really fast until you fall down. True. Yeah, we already have a term for that. It's called the closet. Yeah, egg and being in the closet are not the same. Oh my god, excuse me. Oh my god, excuse me. Yummy. One more. I finally told the family last year and haven't seen them since June. I'm sorry to hear that. My younger family member is also experiencing the family alienation that I simply chose when I was a teenager. That feel when you text grandma about new name and pronouns and she doesn't fucking answer. So you're like, we're not coming to Thanksgiving, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. No Thanksgiving for me. Either top surgery or breast reduction. You can always get top surgery later if you have a breast reduction now. I never was an egg. I learned that being trans was a thing when I was 12, and I was like, wait, that's an option? And now I'm trans. Yeah, I did not have an egg phase. I was like, something feels wrong during puberty time. I don't like it. Why do I have boobs? Like, it was upsetting. Came out as binary a while ago, but have not got around to telling some people that I am non-binary. Yeah. Right, something's wrong. And as soon as I recognize, I was like, oh, my gender is what the problem is here. Speaking of, I'm still not sure if I should ultimately get top surgery or just bind. I mean, I think my BF would prefer that I just bind. You can't make decisions based on what your partner wants, though. My egg phase lasted 30 years, but I'm old AF. It do be like that sometimes. Oof. My sister has the pride flag with the trans and POC pride indent in her window. My mother told my grandma it was the Pan-African flag so that she wouldn't get mad about it. I mean, yeah, Baphomet, like, the main reason that I haven't, like, submitted the paperwork to get on the list for a consultation for phalloplasty is because I would like to talk to my partner about that, and we're just, like, not in a place right now where we can talk about it. Like, just whether it would be a deal breaker kind of thing, you know? We'll see. We'll find out. Do you feel, Baphomet, like you went on HRT and now you're off of it and you don't ever want to go back on? After I started recognizing an incongruence between me and my gender identity, it took me 3 months to realize I am a woman. Nice. I'm still on HRT, I just don't like having boobs. Yeah, you should probably, like, wait a little while. Like, I don't know how long you've been on HRT, but if you do want top surgery, you should probably, like, wait until there is more development. 4 years? Okay. If you've been on for 4 years, I feel like if you got top surgery now, they could probably scoop out enough of your breast tissue that it wouldn't, like, you wouldn't have weird shape problems. It can take up to 6 years for breast growth. I mean, I know people that it still changes a lot after that. I'm just saying, like, there's probably enough breast tissue to take all of it out. Like, to be able to tell what is breast tissue and what isn't, and take all of the breast tissue out. Want me some mommy milkers. I am such a fucking, like, this is one of the ways in which I'm on board with trans femmes, is, like, I do think about actually getting a boob embiggening sometime. I don't know that I ever would, but, like, I think about it. I do think about it. After fucking, like, 7 years of thinking that I wanted top surgery, I consider sometimes about getting boobies installed, bigger boobies. Big if true. I hate the term daddy for myself. I think I'm amused by the idea that I could be daddy. I too wish that trans people could just exchange body parts. I mean, that wouldn't really work for me because, well, if I knew someone who wanted to have a null, and so they wanted to give away their penis and not have it exchanged for a vagina, I could just take their penis. That would be great. Boobies. The 2 trans men I know in real life are super afraid of phalloplasty because they know people where the surgery had complications. Complications for phalloplasty are pretty common, but the kind of complications that are common are relatively minor. Like urethral lengthening is the overwhelming majority. The overwhelming majority of complications in phalloplasty are related to fistulas and strictures during urethral lengthening. I don't want to have urethral lengthening, so I don't have to worry about that. That is part of why I've made the choices that I've made with the surgery that I want, is that I am going to avoid some of the complications in that way. But also, every single person I've ever talked to, well, with the exception of maybe like 1 or 2, every single person who I've ever seen talk about complications from their surgery has still been grateful that they have it. My podcast co-host, Catherine, she had vaginoplasty, and she had like 5 surgeries on her vagina to address all of the like complications and infection and stuff that she was dealing with, and she still doesn't regret any of it, even though she had to do that. So without urethral lengthening, is the urethra sitting below the penis or what? Well, I don't like, Yeah, I mean, basically, like, I would still have a vulva. So the urethra would be where it is in my vulva, because that's not going to change. But there are some people, like, when you're in the process of building the urethra, you can't do it all at once, like all fucking 6 inches all at once. You kind of build it in stages. So for a lot of people, there is a period of time where they're basically peeing through a hole in their ball sack, or they're peeing from a hole like at the very base of their penis, and because it's like staging it out. Yeah. Hello, Halfling Rogue. I'm off from work, but might have to BRB for a bit. No worries. It's always good to have you in. Thanks, Anjali. Anansi no thirsting after me. Pee is stored in the balls quite literally. Now I'm just picturing aiming with my balls. You can't. You pretty much have to sit to pee the entire time. Pee is bored in the stalls. That's true. But I don't want balls. Yeah. Because you would take the labia majora and those would become your scrot. But I don't want a scrot. It's never smexy time for me, Anansi. I'm so violently demisexual now. It's funny though, because I do want to engage in ironic thirst posting. Like I do want people to be like, zaddy, but I don't want people to mean it, you know? I will only engage in flirtation with the highest levels of irony. Can't stop the smuggy, true. I want balls. I respect your choice. I feel like if I could have a set of cis balls, that might be okay. But if I have to change any of my junk, then I don't want that. Okay, we're good at Nazi. It's all good. Thorn Among Roses says their friend just got top surgery and posted that they went from 0 self-esteem to God mode with this one easy trick. That sounds great. I smuggy post lots but get really uncomfy when people approach me sexually for some reason. Like violently demisexual. Flirtation only at a certain Patreon tier. True. Join the $50 a month. Like, could I listen? Would anyone actually do that? Like $100 a month on Patreon for the right to flirt with me during chat. Not even privately. Don't DM me. I swear to fucking God if you DM me. If I got an orky, would that mean I would have to tuck less, do you think? So maybe someone with more experience coming your direction could tell you this. I can say from the direction of, if you start out with a vagina and a vulva and you want to get a penis put on, apparently it is kind of an issue if you have the penis built but you don't have balls yet, that the penis has a tendency to kind of end up in between your legs in a way that can be kind of uncomfortable. So I do think that the balls kind of push the penis forward some. And that if you have your balls removed, then it probably, like, there's probably some amount of, like, it's probably going to be less at an angle like this and maybe more like this. But that's just a guess. This sounds like that 30 Rock joke where Liz Lemon imagines herself as a sex worker. $500 for hugging, $1,000 for kissing. End of list. I mean, I feel like the hugging and the kissing I would charge more for. Like in that dichotomy, it's like $250 to have sex, $500 for hugging, $1,000 for kissing. That would be funny. As a ball haver, I agree. The penis does rest on the balls. Okay, yeah, it does, like, it's like forward, right? If you didn't have balls, it would be like, meh. Hugging would be free. I think Cyberdemon 531 calls the US Supreme Court the Snuggie Cult. What the fuck? Depends too on whether you're a shower or a grower. Yeah, as a As a person with a phalloplasty neophallus, like you would definitely be a shower at all times, swinging. To impress a chick, do the helicopter dick. Go, helicopter dick. Helicopter dick. All right. Like, I just, sometimes you gotta get the Justin Timberlake out of your system. Touch-starved people unite. True. I live alone now. I don't even have a cat now. It's weird. I think it's easier this way, though. Like, just getting a little tiny bit personal. Lived with my partner, who is still my partner, and now I don't live with my partner, and I think it might be easier now than it was before, because in the terms of being touch-starved, because we didn't really spend much time together, and like cuddle and stuff like that as much as I wanted to, and it sucked more because I was like, he could be hanging out with me, but he's not, and so now I'm here, and I'm like, okay, well, at least I'm like, yeah, of course there's no one here hugging me because there's no one here to hug me, right? Do you still live in transes? I do still live in transes. I didn't move super far. I was able to move mostly in like trips of boxes in my car, right? Which thank you all, by the way, for supporting me through that move, like emotionally and financially, because it would not have been able to happen without the help. Right, yeah, exactly, Gayfesh. There's a big difference between not having sex because you're single and not having sex because your partner doesn't want to. Yeah. As a demisexual who's hypersexual in the context of a relationship, trying to make a relationship work with someone who is ace flux and doesn't really have any mechanisms by which to, like, turn it on. It's just either it's on or it's off. Like, struggle time. I'm kind of touch-starved, honestly, especially with the amount of social isolation I've been having. Honestly, I'm doing a good job of reaching out to have conversations with my friends. Like, I'm doing better than average. I've, like, a couple friends who I hadn't really talked to consistently for several years, I recently got back in touch with. Yeah, which is not going to really help a touch-starved thing. Oh, you all know. If you were here last week, you know I bought a sex toy. I don't know when it's going to get here. I hope it's going to be here, like, before the weekend, but I don't think it's going to be here before the weekend, and that sucks because I want it. The issue is being trans and living with my parents. Right. It's hard to, like, hang out with, you know, you're not going to, like, have someone over to your parents' house. Slaps Hungry Bears, hello! Woke up early, and of course, you woke up early, so you're going to come over here first thing. Yeah, Sisukara, you've mentioned, like, you and your partner are both ace and aro, but you didn't discover that you were ace until after you had vaginoplasty. Which I guess means that, like, if you don't really want to, you don't have to dilate. I know some people who want to have vulvoplasty, but not vaginoplasty because they don't want to do penetrative sex, and I'm like, that's fucking crazy and cool. Don't touch me, I'm crawling back to bed. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes you're like, you need a burp, but it won't come out. They'll say, you need to get out and socialize, which is very ironic. Yeah. Oh, well. People are coming, people are going. I appreciate that we have, like, nice, steady streams. This is good. This is a good time. I am having a lot of fun. Some nights it's not a super lucrative night for the donations and everything, but I can't complain because I start to load up the music for stream and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm so ready to hang out with my horde. It's gonna go so nice. Right, I only do dilation every few years. This counts as my socialization today. Truly. I've joined a couple of live streams again recently too, because that's something that I also really, really fell out of the habit of. But it is because it's a demanding social event, right? I haven't had any romantic interaction since the start of COVID, so at this point I am so touch-starved that I don't even feel touch-starved anymore. It's really weird. You know, I feel like once you reach the point where you don't feel touch-starved, it's like, are you touch-starved still? Or have you just come to equilibrium of some kind? Okay. I'm going to pee really quick, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to talk about this bill that was introduced in Kansas, and I might read to you all the law, or not the law. I might read to you all, we are going to read the law, but I might also read to you all the letter that I sent to my senator. So we are going to talk about that in just a minute. While I'm gone, get yourself a drink, like re-up your water, hit the like button, check your notification settings, not only for my channel, but for YouTube, because if you click the bell for me, but you told YouTube that you don't want it to give you notifications on your phone, then you're not going to get any notifications, all right? There's like 13 people have clicked the bell, but only 6% of people have like actually gotten the notifications for that reason. So anyway, no worries, Baphomet. I hope you feel better. Chill out. Have a good night. Beer time. True. All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. Oh my god. Ouch. How far into the stream is it? Yeah, like 2.5 hours. Okay. Now, this is probably going to be the last serious thing that we talk about tonight. Probably. It's 2023 now, and the Republican legislators across the country have already kicked into gear. As soon as they were able to start doing the pre-filings, there are numerous anti-trans laws already going. We're already doing it. It's already happening. I think the number is close to 100 across the country. Looking at all these different kind of laws, there are laws that are trying to make it so that if you're cross-dressing while you're giving a public performance of some kind, basically any performance that's meant to be entertaining, that's considered a drag show, which is adult sexual content. And, you know, if you have that kind of show at your venue, then, you know, you have to be specially licensed to do adult shows at your venue or whatever. And then also the laws restricting access to healthcare, and the laws restricting access to being on the sports team or being able to use the correct bathroom. They have just kicked off all across the country, to the extent that it would be basically impossible to go over all of them. And one did stand out to me, and we are going to focus on that one today because, like, God, you have to choose your battles. Kansas. Come on now, Kansas. It's weird because Kansas has a thing where we typically, like, you know, for a lot of my life, we've had a Democratic governor, but still the rest of the offices tend to be pretty Republican, which kind of makes it feel like maybe if things were, you know, if Jerry had mandated things a little differently, we might have different outcomes. But, you know, Kansas, which came out swinging in the popular vote supporting abortion rights this past year, you know, Kansas, what are you doing to me, babe? They have introduced a bill here that is, you know, so Senate Bill 12, one of the very first ones, by Senators Thompson and Stephan. This act is concerning gender identity medical care, creating the crime of unlawful gender reassignment service and providing punishment therefore, providing grounds for unprofessional conduct for healing arts licensees. So basically we're looking at just yet another law that's making it to where that if you give any gender affirming care to a minor, then that's illegal up to the age of 21 in this case, up to the age of 21. Here we have unlawful gender reassignment service is let me just make this bigger, is knowingly performing or causing to be performed any of the following upon a person under 21 years of age for the purpose of attempting to change or affirm the person's perception of the person's sex if that perception is inconsistent with the person's sex. So they're doing like hardcore sex essentialism, right? So, obviously any surgery that sterilizes or is intended to result in sterilization, including but not limited to castration, vasectomy, hysterectomy, oophorectomy, orchiectomy, and penectomy. A surgery that artificially constructs tissue with the appearance of genitalia, including but not limited to metoidioplasty, phalloplasty, and vaginoplasty. Any mastectomies, prescribing, dispensing, or administering otherwise supplying the following medications. So yeah, puberty blocking medication is always included, which is fucking annoying. Supraphysiologic doses of testosterone to females or supraphysiologic doses of estrogen to males. So literally any cross-sex hormones under the age of 21. Just want to be totally clear. These bills are limiting the rights of adults. Adults who they will gladly send to boot camp and then off to the Middle East somewhere cannot be on hormones. Great. Removing any otherwise healthy or non-diseased body part or tissue for the purposes of gender affirmation. So unlawful gender reassignment service is a severity level 4 person felony. They're making it into a felony. So this is not a situation where, you might just lose funding to your hospital or you might just lose your medical license. That's jail time. The provisions of this section shall not apply, as always, shall not apply if the person was born with a medically verifiable disorder of sex development, including but not limited to. So let's just be totally clear. This bill, what are they calling it? Hold on. Enacting the Kansas Child Mutilation Prevention Act. They care so much about sterilizing surgeries unless you're intersex and they want to force you to be normal. They're okay with doing, let's see, where was it? They're okay with doing vaginoplasty on an 11-year-old intersex kid who was born with a shallow vagina in order to make it so that, what if you get married someday and your husband wants to fuck you? They're okay with that. They're okay with removing healthy gonads and sterilizing people who are intersex. Always, every single time. As used in this section, sex means the biological state of being male or female based on the individual's sex organs, chromosomes, and endogenous hormone profiles. I have to ask every single time, who's doing the chromosome testing? Who's paying for that? So, let's see. I'm trying to read through to see if I can... What are the punishments? If it's a felony, I guess the punishment for the classification of felony that it is might be enumerated somewhere else. Just taking a second here. Okay, I think we might have to look at what specific type of felony this is being added to in order to see what the potential punishments for it are. Yeah, so we'll come back around to that later. Yeah, they always have the carve out for intersex people. They always do. Every single time. In fact, there was a bill in, I think, Idaho that was aiming to do this. And the specific reason that it didn't pass was because there wasn't a carve out exempting intersex kids. In Idaho, until very recently, you couldn't be trans while on probation or parole. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
Slaps Hungry Bears, thank you. Hold on, the chat's loading. Okay, thank you so much for the gifted two gifted tier 1 subs. Kansas seems like a wonderful place at the moment. Also, OGL 1.1 kills small creators and... Wait. Oh, Wizards of the Coast should be ashamed for trying to make a monopoly in the TTRPG. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast seems to do all kinds of fucking weird shit. Wonder if you would be able to have the doctors charged with a felony for misgendering you at birth if you are intersex. I mean, you should be able to sue them for the surgery later. Yeah, I don't think that like there are any provisions for an intersex person who grows up later, like thinking that the surgery that was done to them was done without consent or inappropriate. Like, actually, I think that a lot of the time medical records are deliberately sealed for intersex people. Like, they just don't have access to the records because they can legally be sealed permanently. Fix this thing. Why is my computer being so fucking slow? Normally it's not like this. Okay, there we go. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. But yeah, so this is happening in the great state of Kansas where I live, and I'm pretty fucking irritated about it. So I'm not gonna show you my email, obviously, but I do want to read you the email that I sent to like kind of give you an idea, I guess, of what are some things that you all could say if you were to contact your representatives. Because chances are you live in the United States if you're watching me, and chances are you live somewhere where one of these laws has been introduced. And while it feels like you kind of can't fucking do anything, at the very minimum you can take an hour and write an email. Because like I live in an area where it's relatively progressive, I guess, for Kansas. Relatively progressive for Kansas. Yeah, what do we do for all the people circumcised at birth? I don't think that you can... Yeah, you might be able to sue over, like, a botched circumcision, but what is the statute of limitations? That's another question that... I think some of these... Like one of the reasons why the Oklahoma law was so crazy is that it also expanded the statute of limitations to, like, 40 years, which is longer than basically any other crime. So yeah, I emailed my senator, and I went on at length. So I want to read it to you. I'm not going to show you my email, but I am going to read it to you. I said, hello, whatever, da-da-da. As a transgender American with other young trans people in my family, I've been watching these bills that keep popping up very closely. So I realize that it is very early in SB 12's life to be contacting my representative, as it has only just been pre-filed this week. We may think we are secure with the power of our governor's veto because we have a Democratic governor. However, I still think it's critically important to effectively argue against these destructive, overreaching bills. And I also realize that even Democrats may have serious concerns regarding the safeguarding of children. It is my own strong belief in the safeguarding of children that spurs me to reach out and advocate on their behalf with regard to accessing medical transition. Those who propose and support these bills often say, let kids be kids, as part of their argument for forcing them to wait for life-saving medical care. It's difficult to fit into one email the scope by which trans kids who aren't affirmed don't get to be kids, and that this watch-and-wait strategy of approaching their care severely damages their development and forces them to play catch-up when they turn 18. Or, in the egregious example of SB 12, which is actually curtailing their rights as adults until the age of 21. Trans kids who aren't affirmed and given access to medical care do poorly in school. They do not develop socially in age-appropriate ways. They often struggle with their ADLs or activities of daily living, such as showering and eating. Many trans kids develop eating disorders, self-harming behaviors, and substance abuse disorders, which tend to resolve once affirmative care is provided. It is not being trans which is causing these additional difficulties. It is not being affirmed as trans. I find it particularly affronting that this bill includes puberty blockers on its list of medications that cannot be prescribed to young trans people. If we are truly concerned that minors aren't able to make decisions about permanencies such as puberty, the logical conclusion would actually be to recommend puberty blockers for everyone until they're old enough to decide. Any argument which says that it is only cross-sex hormones and not natal puberty that are permanent changes you must consent to is advocating for conversion therapy without question. Good night, Slaps Hungry Bears. Seriously, thank you. I went on at length, by the way. Like, this is like 10 fucking paragraphs. I went on at length, and I'm going to read it all to you. And it's always quite interesting to note the exceptions. Almost every single one of these bills that has been introduced across the country carves out an exception for sterilizing procedures on intersex infants. There is a loudly stated concern for children's fertility, which is honestly pretty weird. And yet every single time there is a very specific exception for surgeries done on children who could not possibly understand what's happening to them, much less consent to it, and they often live with lifelong urogenital complications and permanent sterility. Child Mutilation Prevention Act, indeed. I will not beat around the bush. The fact that intersex children are corrected at birth, and the fact that these bills seek to, quote, wait and see if being trans is a, quote, phase, are both sides of the same policy coin, blatantly aimed at destroying anyone who doesn't conform to certain biological and social standards. If you force a trans kid through natal puberty hoping that they grow out of being trans, that is an explicitly exterminationist mindset, and if we enact that in policy, then we have an explicitly exterminationist policy, which targets a specific demographic on the basis of their sex. The goal of Watch and Wait is for there to be fewer trans people, as though being happy and well-adjusted as trans is the absolute worst option, as compared to being a suicidal non-trans person who doesn't shower because of the distress their body causes them. This also seems to be one of the only medical issues where we attempt to make legislation based on hypothetical regret. Rhinoplasties and knee surgeries have extremely high rates of dissatisfaction and regret, and yet I have not seen any legislation threatening to jail doctors for giving a 16-year-old football player knee surgery. And it is pretty rich, being a trans person who didn't have access to medical care until the age of 21, to hear all this talk of hypothetical regret, as though the very real regret that almost every trans person I know deals with is inconsequential. How about our childhoods that we missed? How about our, quote, irreversible damage in the form of permanent bone structures which are impossible to change even through surgery? These bills seem to have a firm understanding that someone who goes on cross-sex hormones may be remorseful over what they lost, but pay no mind to the vastly higher numbers of people denied cross-sex hormones who are dealing with the exact same types of loss. There are other less obvious reasons why it's an unabashed good to allow young people to develop alongside their peers with puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, aside from the fact that we know these medications are safe and that this path is endorsed by every single major medical organization the world over. If your Republican colleagues are more interested in these arguments, we could point out that correcting the damage done during puberty costs tens of thousands of dollars, which people would otherwise be spending in their communities. Trans people who don't pass as their target gender are underemployed and underhoused, meaning that they're more likely to use Medicaid, food stamps, and housing vouchers, which all cost the state money. The state is actually creating dependence if this law passes. And then I closed being like, hopefully this bill dies in committee. If it doesn't, hopefully the governor vetoes it. I cannot express to you how scary and disheartening it is watching this happen to innocent children all across this nation. My family should not be contemplating fleeing the country because my young trans family members might have their medication canceled, and yet that is the kind of consideration that families are having to make every day in this country. I feel like I almost want to like give that to you all as a template somewhere, somehow, of like, if you want to get in touch with one of your people, like, feel free to use the points that I put in this and maybe like even take fucking entire chunks out of it. Post it on Discord. I probably should post it on Discord. This is one of the times that I think it would be useful to have a subreddit, because I could post this on the subreddit, but I don't know if I want to start one. But, you know, yeah, I want more people to at least make the effort to contact their representatives, even if it doesn't do anything. Part of the reason why I put this together was not necessarily because I think my senator needs to be convinced, but because I want my senator to have the arguments that they need, you know, like when I like, if your colleagues are more interested in the economic arguments, I can give you the economic argument, right? Yeah, so I should post this on the Discord at the very minimum, and maybe I might post it on like Twitter in the form of some screenshots maybe, but then I would have to do alt text for all of it. Ugh, I don't want to do alt text. I don't like doing alt text. Oh my god, excuse me. I'm such a burpy boy today. I a burpy boy. I'm so tired. It's fucked up too that it's not just this one law. That's one of the other things that was really frustrating about that stupid fucking debate, was people kept being like, well, they haven't passed the law yet. Like, well, they kept saying, like, they didn't say yet. They're like, they haven't been able to pass most of these laws. Like, well, they keep trying and they're going to keep trying. Every state that has tried to pass one of these laws and hasn't passed one of these laws has introduced another one later. They should be worrying about the thousands of intersex and trans people who will be seeking reparations against the states and the GOP in the next few years. Nah, they're not really worried about us. Make the sub. It would need to be moderated, Knox. Is it like a faux pas on Reddit for you to be in your own, like for you to post in your own subreddit? Like, I don't know how it works. One of my mods and friends was telling me that on subreddits, it's like, it's more like subreddits are fan communities. I don't know. But I don't know anything about how to moderate on Reddit, so I would need a lot of help to do that. I feel like I can manage the Discord server pretty well by myself, but it would be much harder on Reddit. Alex Jones lawsuits. Yeah, I don't think that they care about how upset we're going to be. Drink some baking soda water? No, what are you talking about? What? Baking soda water? No, what? Why would you do that? Yeah, I'll think about it, Gayfesh. I'll think about it. I've only just now started to use Reddit some, and I still want to get on Mastodon. I just haven't put any resources toward doing that. I want to be on Reddit because I want to know what news is happening in a way that I can't now through Twitter, and I want to be on Mastodon because that's where a lot of my friends from Twitter have gone. I mean, Mersh, like, if the U.S. government decides to really do something, we're bringing a gun to a nuke fight, you know? Like, there's no amount of Second Amendment that's going to save you if the government wants to kill you. They'll just fucking bomb your neighborhood. It's fine. Number one thing to remember about Mastodon is to follow hashtags. Yeah, I probably should just join Collective while I'm fucking... Yes, exactly. The move bombing in Philly. That's like, that's the one that people always think of, but it's happened twice. It's happened twice. Yeah, it seems like Mastodon is where it's at. Most of my moods are on Collectiva. That's probably going to end up being the one that I join, just because I don't know anything. Like, when I initially saw that Doe had made an instance, I wanted to get in on that, but I think that that's supposed to be only for like the critters and the close family and friends there, which is fine. I was like, ooh, having anarch.cc at the end of the name is really cool looking. They'll just bomb your neighborhood. It's fine. Yeah, exactly. A teaspoon of baking soda in water helps with gas. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Are we not your critters, Lux? No, not the same. Not the same. Like, I don't know, Anansi, if you know Demon Mama, but she is in like a a BDSM relationship with a couple of people who are like Doe and Fawn, which they're like, it's like the deer girl, trans girl archetype. I didn't know that I didn't know that was a thing, except that like neither of them are girls. They both use it, its pronouns. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, when we refer to the critters, it's a very specific, like, we're alluding to Demon Mama's partners in her polycule. Move bombing in Philly was a relatively recent. There's Blair Mountain and stuff, but people will dismiss that because it was so long ago, right? It's Doe and Fawn. Did I say it in the wrong order? I don't fuck with Demon Mama. I like Demon Mama. I really, really, really like her a lot. Quite a bit. I think she's cool. I'm just stoned and typed it out. I see. No worries. I hope that edible is hitting you well. I think that I might be actually done drinking alcohol. I'm not. I think I actually really hate it. Nothing against Demon Mama. I just never watch her. Yeah, no problem. Sometimes it's hard through tone to determine, like, I don't fuck with Demon Mama, you know, like, is that like what the level of intensity is. I discovered that tea helps enhance the high. Ooh, okay. The tannins in the tea, I suppose, are helpful. Demon Mama seems pretty chill. I don't actually watch her very much because she is, like, really intense. Like, for any amount of conversation that we have here about how this is a genocide and you need to be scared, like, Demon Mama does it more. Oh my god, excuse me. Drinking while alone, even if technically on chat with friends, can be dangerous. Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting to a point where, yeah, not only is there the hangover the day after, but there are times when I start to feel shitty and get a headache, and I'm not even at the level of drunk that I was trying to get to, and I feel like shit already. Like, fuck. CS Yusukara, good night. Demon Mama is hella cool. She just donated 3 streams worth of donations to the mods. She is an inspiration. I look forward to being able to afford to donate an entire stream's worth of donations to the mods. She is like her channel, her streams are like 6 times the size of mine. If I usually have about 60 people in here, 50, 60 people in here, and she has like like 250, 300, 350 people in her streams, like, yeah, it'll take a while to get there. It'll take a little while. She gave out like 2K. I would love to be able to afford that. It would be great. If I could afford to give out 2K, I could also afford to have already purchased a bed and not be sleeping on a fucking beanbag chair. Welcome back, Halfling Rogue. Welcome, yo, the way alcohol has treated my body welcome to how the way alcohol has treated my body my whole life. It'll keep you honest. Yeah. Soy Boy, are you like Asian? Because I know that Asian people have a really difficult time digesting alcohol. I'm just curious. Did I miss the segments earlier? Yeah, we are done talking about anything serious today. We talked about the Lemkin Institute. We talked about this law in fucking Kansas. And I think I'm done talking about anything serious. I probably will be ready to make myself some dinner here before too long. Yeah, so my problem with the bed... So here's my issue with the bed, okay? And I know that, like, the bed was one of the things that I put on my list of things. Like, here's what the GoFundMe is very specifically going to help me with. I was shopping around for beds and stuff, and just where my life is going from here. My plan is to get a bed that, after sales tax and everything, is going to cost like $3,000. It's like, I have the ability to afford a payment plan, but I just need to have the credit, right? That's the issue that I'm running into, is that I don't have enough credit yet. However, I could buy a shittier bed, right? I probably could buy like a $200 or $300 bed. But the problem with that is that I am going to sleep on that bed for the next 10 years. If I buy a shitty bed that only cost a couple $100s, I'm still not going to be able to sleep well. And I'm going to sleep on that bed for 10 years because I know myself. I know myself well enough. I suppose if I really have to hold out and wait for myself to have decent credit, so it'll be like another 3 or 4 months before I can get the bed, then maybe I'll get a shitty bed. But still, ultimately, my goal is I'm going to get the bed that I'm going to sleep in for the next 20 years and be comfortable. And I've already tried it out. I tried it out in the store, and I'm like, oh, I need this bed. So I can afford it on a payment plan. I wish a bed could last me 10 years. I'm a fat fuck. Mattresses are lucky if they make it 5. It's all about the technology. It's all about the technology. And getting a bed that is made for a fat person, you know? They do make beds with the explicit purpose of being better for heavier people, but I imagine that it's just a material limitation at some point. When I moved out a year ago, I bought an authentic Japanese futon and a comforter, and it cost around $400 total. I don't want to sleep on a futon. Like, I'm doing okay with the sleep situation that it is now. It's not my favorite, but it could be worse, and I think that, like, a futon would be worse than what I'm doing now. Credit scores are so dumb. Amen. Also, I bought a shitty memory foam mattress from Amazon, and it hasn't been a year yet, and I can feel the dent I've made in the bed forming and making it kind of uncomfy. Futons suck too. Amen. Was it a Beauty Rest black bed? No. So, I'll figure it out. I called someone at my bank, and I'm gonna have a meeting with her soon probably, and be like, you know, my agent at my bank or whatever, and be like, hey bro, you know how you loaned me $8,000 a few years ago and I paid off the loan completely? Can you weigh that in your determination of whether to give me a personal loan now? Like, you know? Mattress on the ground club. I don't think there's anything wrong with mattress on the ground as long as the mattress is decent. Like, I actually think that a mattress on the ground is more comfortable than a fucking futon. Mid-30s now, I've got a bad back. I can't do the futon and shitty mattress anymore. Right. I still have the air mattress pumped up in the other room, and I can't sleep on it. Depends on how hard your floor is. Yeah, I had never really thought about that. That putting the bed on carpet versus hard floor might make a difference. Yeah. Yeah. I could spend fucking $200 and buy a $100 spring mattress from Walmart that's filled with fiberglass and a 4-inch memory foam pillow top to put on top of it if I really just needed a bed for the next couple months, right? I found a bed frame in the alley, so now my bed is on that. Moving up in the world, bud. Yes. I want a $400 bed frame. It's terrible. I've got an eye for the like finer things. I want a good bed. I want a good bed frame. I want to be able to make it. Just spend a few thousands of dollars, a few tens of thousands of dollars, and replace all of your floors with mattresses. We should just do that in the bedrooms. You should never skimp on things between you and the ground. And the bed frame that I want, not only is it cute, so like, if you don't have a headboard, right, you end up like touching the wall a bunch, and then if you live somewhere for like 3 years, when you move out, there's a bunch of like just black oil, like just marks from the oil in your skin and hair on the wall. So for a long time, my partner and I behind our bed have just had like a giant piece of cardboard, and it's so scuffed and so shitty. So I want a headboard, and then I also want to have a fucking bed frame with under bed storage, because what the fuck is the point of having a bed frame if you can't store shit underneath it? Anyway. Yeah, never skimping on things between you and in the ground, including computer chairs, beds, and shoes. I have a chair right now that I pulled out of the dumpster. That's what this chair is. This chair is a chair that got pulled out of the dumpster, and I probably should get a real chair. I'm also trying not to sit in my chair all day anymore, though. Making sure to spread out my time. Some of my time I'm sitting here, I'm really focused on doing my job. But if I'm not doing my job, I'm trying not to be sitting here. Whether I'm editing or doing I'm doing my best not to dick around at my computer, right? I'll do Facebook on my phone. If I'm browsing Reddit for fun, I'll do that on my phone. But if I'm browsing Reddit for work, I'll do that here at the computer. Went for a walk outside earlier, and it was a breath of fresh air. I went out earlier today to go do some errands, and it was really nice. It was like not quite 60 degrees, I think, but it was almost 60 degrees, and it felt really nice. I wore shorts, actually. I feel like I shouldn't be able to wear shorts in January, but it is what it is. Global climate catastrophe. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. I need to do better about not dicking around on my computer. I go to the gym a few times a week at least, so that's something. I am up to like 3 or 4 days of exercising a week. My goal is to get to 6 days a week exercising, and then I'll take Sunday as my rest day. When I was a kid, I thought errands were called errands and got confused. My mom was out running errands. I would be confused about that as well. No worries, Beth. Sometimes it does happen that you don't get home until quite late or whatever. Slaps Hungry Bears in here earlier said that they just woke up. Different time zones for everybody. Last week, it got as high as 65 Fahrenheit. Me being like, it's time for the beach in fucking January. I know. It's fine. We're all gonna die some way or another. Whether it's a tornado or a flood or starvation or too much heat, entirely preventable human tragedies. Don't worry about it. God. You gotta try not to have so much anxiety about dying, because it's gonna happen someday. It's just that I don't think anybody ever feels ready, right? You never feel like, oh yeah, this is fine. Now is a good time for this. I'm trying to figure out how to pay the bills, got a migraine, and then decided to smoke a bunch of weed, lost track of time. I hear that weed does that. I've heard that it causes some losing track of time and lack of attention. Lux may die of old age, the ancient dragon. I do like to play like I'm 1,000 years old. It's a fun game to play. Pretending that you're eternal to people. Ancient dragon of chaos. True! That's what anarchy is. Christ almighty. I'll never die of old age. I refuse to die until I've played every liter of Civ at least once. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. In about 70 years. Good grief. Can anyone else in chat take pills without having to drink water? Because I feel like sometimes it's kind of weird. Like, I'll just, on stream, I just, like, put a pill in my mouth and then eat it. And then it's gone. To be clear, I'm not dry swallowing. It is a spit-assisted movement, right? Interesting fact, as we get older, our life expectancy increases, which means we'll likely live longer than we think. Do you mean as we get older, like because of the technology and like the medical care and stuff? Like life expectancy increasing, I guess, but interesting fact, COVID damages your telomeres. Like the parts of your chromosomes that like are responsible for keeping you from aging. Like when your telomeres start to break down, that's what aging is. So we're probably going to be looking at aging being advanced by like 10 years probably. Like if you would have died of old age at the age of 80 a couple years ago, then you will now naturally die at the age of 60. Or sorry, at the age of 70. I said 80 before and then 70. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, COVID definitely fucked shit up. The parts of me that are merely tello. True. I just crunch. There are some pills that you're very explicitly not supposed to crunch. I cannot recommend that you crunch your pills, Koopa. That's a little bit too much. Oh boy. We could talk about Teslas, but my voice is so tired. COVID is elegantly deadly in many ways. The new variant is super infectious and a super spreader too. Yeah, I have been kind of thinking, oh, I'm finally feeling kind of settled in my new place. I should invite some friends over. And not like some friends, but like a friend at a time individually, maybe a few different people over the course of a month or something. But I don't trust people. And also, it's not even a matter of trust. Like one of the people who I was thinking of inviting over just got a job, just lost one job working with the public and then got another job working with the public again. And I'm like, it's not even up to you if you get sick, right? Yeah, I have felt that way before too, Beth, about like, I'm just gonna off myself before I get old. But I don't know. I don't know that I feel that way anymore. I think that I think it's impossible to know what you'll feel like until you get there. I suck on Spiro like they're warheads. I feel like, I mean, I guess you do put some medications under the tongue, so you could suck on them. That's just weird. My dad is immunocompromised, and I have to be super careful with COVID because even if he lives far, if he comes and visits or whatever, it can be very dangerous for him. So I hate having people over. Right. I think I'm just gonna lie. If anyone, no one, sometimes I think people look at me a little weird because I still wear masks when I go places. If anybody asks me, I'm gonna tell them I have asthma. That's a lie. I will lie and say I have asthma, and if I catch any of the stupid shit that's going around, I will die. So thank you. I'm glad to see that you, as a person not wearing a mask and accosting me for wearing a mask, care so much about your fellow man that you're willing to endanger my life by getting in my face to talk to me about this. I never expected to see 30. I kind of never expected to see 30. I'm going to be 29 in a couple months, and then I'll be 30 next year, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Like, I feel like that'll be a pretty big milestone that I didn't ever think I would get to. I seriously always thought that I would kill myself before 25, but definitely before 30. As someone who has the shittiest asthma, I support you. Thank you. My dad said he would die at 60, and then he died 2 months shy of 60. Oh, that's crazy. Also, I am sorry for your loss. Again, always unsure. When you're in a group of trans people who talk about their dead parents, it's like a 50-50 on whether they're going to be like, "Yay! I'm 40 in June. Hell yeah." As someone approaching 31, I've been told many times that the 30s are better than the 20s. And so far, yes, but I really hope that holds true. Yeah, I hear that you just feel mentally a lot more stable inside yourself. And that makes your 30s a little bit easier than your 20s. I am in public, therefore I am immunocompromised, for one exceptionally broad definition of the word. Everybody who catches COVID is going to be increasingly immunocompromised as well. Okay, I'm hungry. I need to get out of here and make myself some food or buy myself some food, whichever way it ends up going. I appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight, covering the news with me, chilling, listening to me bitch about that debate earlier this week. So I hope that you have a good night, and I will be seeing you all on Thursday unless some crazy shit happens between now and then. All right? Be well. Stay hydrated. Ideally, don't die between now and then. All right?